will it be tonight? Iconic events are iconic for many reasons. And here we are in the 75th anniversary of the Southern 500, and the Cookout Southern 500 is on. The real race to become a NASCAR Cup Series champion begins now. Wow, and around goes Josh Berry. Berry into the wall. He had a brilliant qualifying yesterday, and it's all come undone.
Lap one of the playoffs. Every driver talked all week long about having to survive this round. And already a huge deficit for this 21 team.
That 21 spun very quickly. I couldn't tell if it was a tire or maybe it hit the ground, bottomed out, but like a snap spin for the 21. Let's take a look. He's right there inside second row. You mentioned it. Great qualifying effort. That was mission accomplished. You just want to settle in, Jeff. Turns 1 and 2 tight. Exit of 2, probably the tightest part of the racetrack.
Every driver's talked about how hard you have to drive these race cars. Berry on the bottom of the racetrack, going to the throttle, and it just gets loose. Simply got loose. Made contact also. Not sure if there's damage on Reddick's car as well.
I only saw the second spin, but just watch this 21. A wiggle first. First wiggle, right over the bump. Then he gets loose, gets into the door of the 45. The 45, light contact for sure. Jeff, some damage, heavy damage on the left rear of the 21.
Watch the 21. Watch it bounce. See it bouncing right there? He gets loose, loses control. Reddick, contact with the wall, Steve. I'm just not sure how much damage he has.
On board with Logano, yes.
Steve, I think Joey was very lucky. Watch this.
Oh, wow, very lucky. And I'm not willing to say that all the cars in front of the 22 didn't have issues. Let's see here from the 8 of Kyle Busch. He gets involved as well in the stack up right here. Just that's what happens. My point is, other cars that didn't get spun around, it doesn't take a lot of damage, nose to tail, kind of beating and banging to maybe knock the ductwork loose or something like that. You know, contacts like this, that seems harmless. But these cars are precision instruments. They're going to touch the right side on the wall all day, but that nose and front splint are very important.
Josh Berry had no idea that that car was loose. It snapped on him, then he tried to correct it. When it hit those bumps, he just simply lost control of the rear of the car. Here's a great shot.
Well,
that car bottomed out.
Bottoms out. You see the smoke come out from the back of the car?
The entire corner, it bottomed out.
That's right. I think that's the best look we just saw of the bottoming out. Now, we expect the cars to touch a little bit on low air, but that right there absolutely bottomed out, then got loose, and around he went.
And you can make the car lead where it never bottoms out. The problem with that is the lower the back of the car gets, the more downforce it makes. Low air pressure just traveled more than the team anticipated. Around it goes.
And we don't know what kind of damage that Tyler Reddick sustained. We ride with Reddick now. But this, if the damage isn't too bad, is a crazy escape. That was unreal. Parker?
Right, guys, super unfortunate for Josh Berry making his first playoff appearance here. You guys noticed the bottoming out. Jeff, you asked about the amount of damage. It's significant left rear damage here for the 21, and that the all-important diffuser underneath the back of the car is damaged as well. The team's been working through it. They cut a lot of bodywork away. Josh is pulling away here now as they try to do damage control, but significant damage for Josh Berry in this 21 car.
41 of Alex Bowman on the bottom of the screen. Remember that poor qualifying effort? Well, Kim, early yellow, decided to come to pit road for work.
Yeah, he hit the brakes during that incident and hit the person in front of him square with his nose. So they don't think the damage is extreme. They did want to come down, make sure everything was okay, change some tires, check clearances, but not a great start after a dismal qualifying effort yesterday by Alex Bowman.
Crazy start to the Southern 500. What a shame for Josh Berry, his first appearance in the playoffs. NASCAR on USA is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Save when you bundle motorcycle, RV and boat insurance. Visit progressive.com. Toyota, let's go places. And by Credit One Bank, NASCAR American Express card. Well, we're going slowly, under caution, a lot sooner than we thought because of a lap 1 incident involving Josh Berry. But here's the onboard with Tyler Reddick, and what an escape.
What a save. In every championship journey, there is a moment where you have to overcome. Check this out. Look how loose he gets. Corrects, but doesn't overcorrect. It does not make contact with the wall. I cannot tell you what an amazing job that is that Tyler Reddick did to get that car saved and not turn the car and get the right front into the wall. That could be a championship-saving move right there. That is unbelievable.
So, while it went Tyler Reddick's way, it did not go Josh Berry's way. Have a listen to recent radio.
Broke in the front, my steering's like wandering everywhere. It's not drivable. The steering's completely upside down now. I mean, it feels like spindles broke or something like that.
So the 21 not out of the race. They'll go back and look at it. Certain parts can be swapped, others cannot. They'll have to assess exactly what the issue is. One thing that kind of got lost in all of that, new leader. 19 of Chase Briscoe, who has chosen the outside. He's the leader of the race. He controls this restart.
And the defending race winner. Ready to get going again in this 500-mile classic. The original pole man, Denny Hamlin, on the right-hand side of your screen. His JGR teammate, Chase Briscoe, on the outside. We're back racing here in Darlington. And a great restart from Chase Briscoe. Maybe that was third time lucky for Tyler Reddick. Remember Richmond, he got taken out when in a prominent position, may have been able to win Richmond. Last weekend in Daytona, it didn't go his way. So maybe today is the day where his luck has changed.
Aggressive 3 wide into a very narrow end of the racetrack. Who else but the 77 of Hocevar?
That first lap wreck would have scared me. Back her down just a little bit. But the truth is, you just can't give up spots. You have to take advantage of these restarts. You have to be aggressive.
Back at the front, Kyle Larson under attack from the 23 of Bubba Wallace. Will Larson concede the position? No, he gassed it up. No, he does. He lets him go. I thought he was going to try to stay on the right rear quarter panel.
Smart move. Gets really tight on the exit of both of these corners. A little early to be pushing that hard.
HendrickCars.com on board for Kyle Larson, and this 5 team really feels, Steve, that there's been a change in momentum. They're seeing the positives of the last few races, and they're looking for tonight to be a definite turning point.
Well, the 23 of Bubba Wallace, aggressive still. Great car underneath him as he goes by his teammate, the 45 of Reddick. First stage, 115 laps. Only 1 pit stop required for fuel, but these Goodyear tires and this old, worn-out Darlington asphalt go away so quickly that I do expect the cars to pit a couple times in this stage. Let's listen into Reddick. He was in that wreck earlier. What does he think at the moment?
Something definitely doesn't feel right. Left rear. Just really free on throttle. Settle in and be easy with it. We'll see where it goes. That's all we got for now.
So now if you're Billy Scott, you're trying to understand, was this the overnight changes? Did you just miss the balance? Or that donut right there, that big tire mark in the left side door, did it hit that left rear tire enough to bend it, point it in the wrong direction? So are we, is it like a standard adjustment, Kim, or do we think it's damage? That can become very confusing for the team.
Well, yesterday in practice, the team told me they got a little free on the long run. Don't think it was enough to hinder him from doing things, making passes. So for him to say it was free this early after they made proactive adjustments into this race makes me think it could be due to that damage.
Nice move you may have noticed there from Christopher Bell, as Bell eased his way by Kyle Larson. So it's Briscoe, Hamlin, Chastain. Wallace continues his forward movement ahead of his teammate Reddick, and then Bell, Larson, Cindric, Austin Dillon, and Ryan Blaney, the top 10 at the moment. On the timing stand on the left-hand side there on that graphic, the blue surround designates the playoff drivers, so that's going to be easier for you to identify.
Your whole goal is to be surrounded in yellow next week, because that means you've advanced. That means you won a week ago, or if we get far enough in, maybe a mathematical calculation. But that's everyone's goal, is to just kind of make this first round a non-event if possible. We talked about smart for the 5-car, Jeff. I will say, you know, not a panic at this point, but the leading positions. And once again, you know, the 20 has driven by the 5, and now he's to the rear bumper of the 45. So Reddick and Larson definitely don't have the exact balance they're looking for early.
This is the fun battle right here. Tyler Reddick likes the top side of the racetrack. Christopher Bell trying the bottom. Tyler is just one of those drivers that's really comfortable up against the wall. Christopher Bell is also, but Tyler's taking that position away, so Christopher has to try something else.
There you go, a little lower. I bet he's going to even turn earlier. There you, just like you said, a lane lower off turn 2.
Works pretty well. You know, he gets the exit of turn 2 really well at the bottom. This side of the racetrack, it gets really difficult to maintain pace on exit. You roll through the middle really well, but this part of the racetrack on corner exit, you can see Reddick driving away down the straight. That's why drivers love this racetrack.
Here we go. Makes a move, and a definitive move. Christopher Bell. So first it was Larson, now on Reddick. He continues his push forward.
When you're loose at Darlington, the way Tyler Reddick said he is, the center of 1 and 2, where he just got passed by Bell, is a place that is very difficult to manage. Watch Larson when he drives into turn 1. Think about this racetrack, it's very unique. Drives into turn 1, very sharp corner. Now it's a little mini straightaway with a tiny arc in it. You go to the throttle, then you have to lift and then exit turn 2. If your car is loose in the middle, you can't go to the throttle. You can't carry speed through there. You feel like the back's gonna always hit the wall. Loose in the center of 1 and 2 like Reddick is right now is a major disadvantage.
Look at how tender and quiet his hands are. It looks, to your point, to be a little free. That orange tape on the top of the steering wheel, you want to keep nice and calm to the low. Right there, correction. Oh, another correction.
Marty, one car making good progress is the 20 of Christopher Bell. Tell us more.
Yeah, Lee, he's finished 3rd in the last 2 Darlington races, and he told us earlier this week the playoffs are littered with tracks like that for us, where we've come so close to winning, but we haven't pulled it off yet. When I talked to Adam Stevens, his crew chief, this afternoon, he said, I feel like we gave up a little bit on the short run speed in practice yesterday, but that long run was so good for us, and that was a vast improvement over what we had in the spring. You can see that pace right now. Bell top 5 almost every lap, now trying to get Chastain for 4th.
Everyone can't be having a good day, and everyone can't be a winner. We have playoff cars basically all but Barry off the track, and Alex Bowman in 31st. Everyone else inside the top 20. Bowman did not qualify well, and you would expect he would kind of move forward, but bottom of the racetrack, or bottom of the screen, you see him, he's kind of by himself, not really in traffic. It's just not the 48 team Alex Bowman's looking to drive today.
It was a struggle in practice yesterday. He was not good at all. Sometimes you don't qualify well, but you have a good racing car. Yesterday, it was a struggle all the way around for this team.
Top box, you see, Jeff, the 1 of Ross Chastain there, and long before the checkered flag falls already, a celebratory day of sorts, his 250th NASCAR Cup Series start. Can it be a fortunate day where he guarantees himself into the next round here in the playoffs? Here's something cool that you can be involved in. Scan the QR code you see on your screen or visit NASCAR.com/Ford Playoffs promo to enter for your chance to win a 2025 Ford Bronco Heritage Edition or an epic Bronco Off-Rodeo experience. Don't wait, enter now, and good luck. Pretty neat competition. Welcome back. The Cookout Southern 500 well and truly underway. We've got 89 laps to go in the first stage. Let's check in with Kim Kuhn. Kim?
Yeah, we heard Tyler Reddick talk about how the car was free. You see the donut on the side from that first incident. Here's more radio on the team trying to sort out the balance issue.
I don't know, it just feels like the left rear is just like noted or something. 10-4, well it has not been hit, so it might be something aero. We will work on it when we get a chance. Left on throttle security than what I had yesterday. Entry balance is a little freer too. All right, copy that. Said the roof flap is up, so that might be a portion of it.
So that roof flap got agitated during that incident. Steve, could that actually be the incident in what is causing the balance issue with Tyler Reddick?
Absolutely. You see right here, the 45 spinning, the roof flap is up. It's deployed because the car is so sideways in this unbelievable save that Jeff pointed out. So we take another closer look right here. It's on the racetrack. If you zoom in right here, you see it. I'll make you zoom in, get a little closer. There you go. So the first thing you see is the camera, but just above that camera bod is a little bit of black fabric. Remember, when that left or that right flap opens on the left side, there's a piece of canvas in there to help make the flap bigger. And when it closed, it folded out instead of in, which is normally no big deal because when the flap's open, the next stop's normally pit road dip. You don't stay on the racetrack. So the team will have to do it. Now I'm going to tell you, that's going to be tough to adjust on a green flag pit stop. It's going to be fun to watch how the 45 team does, and I expect green flag pit stop probably less than 10 away.
Highly unusual, a real anomaly, but we'll see. That's what the teams have to do. They have to employ reactionary flexibility. How quickly can you resolve an issue like that? You'll notice that the shadows are starting to come into effect down in turns 3 and 4. So we're approaching 6:30 local time here. Sunset is at about 7:45, 7:46.
So Christopher Bell still working the bottom of the racetrack. Behind them, Austin Cindric in this 2 car. Good start of this race. Qualified 10th. He's picked up 2 spots. Sitting right there running with Larson, about the same pace as Larson. Had a good run here in the spring. Talked to him earlier this week, likes this racetrack, knows how big of a challenge it's going to be, but I feel like he is just relaxed and ready for this.
Jeff, I'm going to quote him from earlier this week when yourself, DJ, Steve, Marty, and myself sat around with the playoff 16, and Austin Cindric said, I can go all the way to the championship 4, Steve. I fit the criteria better than ever before. Do you agree?
I believe the confidence is required to get there, and why not him? You know, when I look at this playoff field, I have a hard time picking out a favorite. There is definitely a group of cars that it's easier to make an argument for, but when you look at Austin, you know, why not? Just because others don't believe in him, I love that he believes in himself, believes in his team.
Toyota on board with Denny Hamlin. Let's go for a ride.
Two back, 1 lane lower. 1 back, 1 lane lower. Coming right to you, bumper here.
Look at this. Bubba Wallace. We were just talking about the confidence of Austin Cindric. Bubba Wallace, you could say we are seeing a new Bubba Wallace because he is a little more relaxed. He is a little more open and very positive, even with the tough run at Daytona. He said, oh, well, on to the playoffs. Let's go wash that off, forget about it. Here is Alex Bowman on pit road.
How about that slide Bubba Wallace gave to his team owner, Denny Hamlin? Kim.
Yeah, they'll take 4 tires, going to go on the jack. So don't believe there are any issues there with Alex, just part of their strategy coming down pit road. They will make that chassis adjustment you just saw.
This is all about a lap. The 48 was running 31st, well behind the leaders. We're talking 20 seconds behind the leader. Come early. Now, you are going to be a couple laps down right here, but maybe come a couple laps before the leaders gain time on the leader. And just like that, the 19 Briscoe off the banking onto pit road. This will open the valve right now. The leader pits will kind of put a little bit of panic on everybody. Let's take a look at this 19's pit stop, Parker.
Right, Steve, we'll most likely see a lot of teams react to this and what James Ball's done here. James Ball told me goal number 1 in this race was to take advantage of their qualifying position. After qualifying in the front row, they got the lead there. They've led all the way through here. He was just getting too loose in turns 1 and 2, and then that got worse in 3 and 4 when you saw his teammate Denny Hamlin get pretty close to him. The team was trying to coach him on managing his lap times there for Chase Briscoe, and he's away.
A wave of cars have now come to pit road as well, including the 45 of Reddick and the 5 of Larson, Dave.
Larson hits his marks. Got to keep the car running with that bad starter. Not very good, according to the driver. Out of the track, no grip. He'll get 4 Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel, Kim.
The 45 of Tyler Reddick stops in his box. Remember, he was complaining of a free condition. Then he said it did start to tighten up. You see the crew member adjusting that roof flap. What Steve talked about right there, 4 fresh Goodyear tires, Sunoco fuel. Also the 2 on the bottom of your screen complaining of the same thing yesterday. That's just tight on the long run.
Both the roof flap and the diffuser flap. Tire changer fixed the back of the car up underneath as pit road continues. 4 tire stops up and down. William Byron in the 24, so close in the spring. I thought he had the best car, but it was a green flag pit cycle where he lost the lead by running a little long. Not this time. One of the earlier cars on pit road as Wallace, Hamlin, and Bell continue to make laps.
You're still waiting for those to come in for the first time. Here is Bubba Wallace in that U.S. Air Force Toyota Camry for 2311. This car looks awesome in the flesh. It looks mean. It's got a stealth bomber on the side of it, and he is ready for a fight.
Going back to that 45 car, Steve, I think a major disadvantage to Bell clearly was they don't know what the car is going to do now that all this is fixed, right? So you kind of gave this first run up. You don't, what adjustment do you make?
Well, the real challenge is this right here. This has nothing to do with the roof flap, right? The Jackman was under his normal course of action. They come to the left side, just has a slow stop. That kind of adds a little bit of frustration, and it's going to cost the 45 a ton of spots on the racetrack.
Good thing is we're early on in this 500-mile classic. And if you go back all the way back to the opening lap, Tyler Reddick pretty much won the lottery there because he could have been in a lot worse shape than what he is right now.
We're in an interesting position with a big wave of cars, almost 12 of them still on the racetrack. I wonder if these isn't going to be a complete strategy call. They still may be stopping twice, or maybe somebody says, you know what? I'm going to only stop once and save a set of tires. Well, here's the second wave. This is Blaney, Hocevar, Chase Elliott in the 9, all very conservative getting to pit road, which I completely agree with this early in the race.
Parker's standing by. Take it away.
Right, you see the 9 of Chase Elliott coming down pit road. He actually wanted to come a lap earlier, but couldn't get down with some of the new cars. Cars on new tires right there. Just reporting that the car is way too tight right now for his liking, especially against the wall, Marty.
Ryan Blaney told Jonathan Hassler, I'm way too free to start this race, and he said he's having trouble because of that freeness, Parker, in running turns 3 and 4 right up against the wall. So Hassler going to make some adjustments here. But Steve, to your point, a number of teams still out on the track.
Yeah, still running, including the leader of Bubba Wallace. There he is, the 23. There's the difference. New tires, the 19 of Briscoe. Old tires, 23 of Bubba Wallace. Now, we expect the 19 to still make another pit stop in about 35 laps. Maybe Bubba Wallace trying to play a different hand, be aggressive early in these playoffs. His owner, fellow Toyota driver, but driver for Joe Gibbs Racing, Denny Hamlin, pole sitter. He's on pit road, as well as the 20 of Bell, Marty.
Yeah, Denny Hamlin coming down pit road was able to keep it in the top 2. He said he's, quote, too tight up the hill, but then too free on exit. A couple pit stalls behind him will be his teammate Christopher Bell that you see on the right-hand side of your screen. I think they debated that strategy that you talked about, Steve, maybe just doing one stop here in stage 1. But they said the car was way too free to be able to pull that off, Kim.
And you see Bubba Wallace top of your screen coming down, looking for a very clean stop throw tonight. The crew chief reminding the team one bad stop could ruin your day here. Remember, rewind 2 weeks ago, they had a loose wheel at Richmond. They sat down, talked about everything they needed to do to execute here at Darlington, knowing it'd be a similar amount of stops. No major complaints from Bubba as those 4 fresh Goodyear tires go on Sunoco fuel.
No better look of the pit crew artwork in motion right there, like a ballet. You see the jack man swing the jack around his back. Everybody moves along. Just a picture-perfect pit stop for the 23.
That leaves 4 drivers out on track. Make it 3. John Hunter Nemechek, Shane Van Gisbergen, Michael McDowell, who are yet to pit. Here's Van Gisbergen. Really good run the last 2 weekends for SVG. How is tonight going to play out here in Darlington? Marty?
And Lee, it's interesting. This was SVG's call to run a little bit longer, and Stephen Doran said, yeah, we can do that if you want. He said the tires aren't wearing nearly as bad as I thought they would, and that's certainly in the skill set of SVG to be able to take care of those tires on the longer run. Great look down pit road as you see the sun setting here at Darlington. SVG coming to a stop. So the car was way too tight early in the run, and then he hit the wall, quote, harder than I would have liked. 4 fresh Goodyears going on the 88.
Mistake early for the 6 of Brad Keselowski. You see the bottom left penalty. Service outside of the pit box. Pitting outside of the pit box. So he'll have to slow down and come to pit road. Right here we're going to see around to the right. He's in his box right now. Left side goes on.
All the way, all the way. Clear out there, don't speed.
I don't see anything from that look. Oh, wait. Oh, here's the issue. So they come down. It looks to me like the left front's not tight. So he stops in another Ford teammate of Logano, and they're going to tighten the left front. There you go. Watch this. Going to tighten the left front up. So look, A+ job by this 6 team to stop in another pit stall. A Ford teammate to allow him to do. Logano at this point is like, we're not racing Brad in the playoffs. It would have been interesting if he was a playoff car if they'd have helped him. But they tightened the left front wheel, which would have been a huge penalty if you took it onto the racetrack. But that is a penalty because it's service outside your box. That's a pass-through, but you've said it, 320 laps to go still.
So, Jeff, tell the folks at home from a driver's standpoint, and then, Steve, you follow on, if you would, from the crew chief perspective and the human resource management side of your crew. Jeff, what's it like when you know you're facing at least 9 or 10 pit stops in this race?
Well, first of all, you come into this race with a completely different mindset. You know this is the longest race of the year. The Coke 600 is 600 miles. This is 500 by clock. This is a longer race. So you have to go into it with the right mentality. You have to understand not everything is going to go right. You're going to have bad pit stops. You're going to have some bad laps. You have to overcome those things and move forward. And you go into it with a different mindset. This is a grind. It is the longest race of the year, and you have to approach it just like it is.
Build submarines on board for Brad Keselowski. Tough week for the RFK Ford organization. They wanted to have at least one of their 3 in the playoffs. Unfortunately, that did not happen.
Nemechek and McDowell currently leading. First car off from pit road is Briscoe in 3rd. You see on the bottom left, him versus the 23. Bubba Wallace almost a straightaway back, choosing to run longer. We'll see if it pays off.
On pit cycle, John Hunter Nemechek and the Legacy Motor Club Toyota. That Pi Barker Camry right there is the race leading car, but again, he's yet to pit, so we'll see what he does as this race unfolds. He won in the Truck Series back here 3 years ago, enjoying some time up front. And up front, more often, can be said for the Legacy Motor Club Toyotas. He and his teammate Eric Jones, a two-time winner here at the Southern 500. Things are turning around for that whole organization.
Yeah, I'm a big Travis Mack fan. I believe that he's not only a leader, but he understands strategy and he looks at different ways. And I think it's a perfect example. You know, Nemechek started outside the top 20, so it's hard to believe he's just going to drive to the front. So he's going to run. Now, I know Briscoe just passed him for the lead, so he has pitted, put fresh tires on, and run him all the way back down, but he was spotted 20 to begin. I really would love to see where this cycles out. It's going to be interesting. I believe it's going to be a net gain over the 20th position. Look at this shot, Jeff. This is great.
Let's get some updates from pit road. Kim, kick us off.
Yeah, Alex Bowman running in the 25th position. Remember that cycle of green flag stops was started by the 48. Great call strategy-wise by crew chief Blake Harris to bring his car down early. They were in desperate danger of going a lap down. In fact, Blake told me even before the race, that was their biggest fear starting 29th. Remember, he was part of that early incident. So good call by the crew chief to save them from going a lap down, Marty.
Kim, of those pitting twice here in stage 2, Shane Van Gisbergen ran the longest, pitting at lap 44. Kind of waiting for that to pay off. Sitting in 28th, here's what SVG said about the car.
So tight, and then through 2, it's trying to kill me. Like crazy loose. It's going to change a lot when it gets dark, too. Yeah, I hope so. Sorry for the language. All good.
Okay, A, I don't think I've ever heard a driver apologize for the language on the radio, but SVG with a funny comment there. But to Stephen Doran's point, Steve, how much does this racetrack change once the sun does go down?
Oh, sun goes down. We had that great camera angle showing everyone running against the wall. You could easily see how much rubber was going on the racetrack. That'll be put down and picked up. You see right there how much darker it is up by the wall, because that's where most guys are running. Lighter down the racetrack. That will change under yellows. Jeff, this is all things as a driver I'm going to need some help with. It's not going to drive great. Be in or out of the rubber, kind of change your line to help the car.
Experience matters, right? You have to understand what the track looks like, how it's going to change. Really, the only way you can do that is run this race multiple times. Kim talked about Alex Bowman, and you did a great job of explaining that strategy that the 48 is using to try to stay on the lead lap. That's their entire goal for this first stage. So far, I think they're doing pretty well. If you look at their lap times, they've been able to match. They might be a little bit off of Briscoe, but with older tires, he's able to run almost the same pace, maybe a 1/10 of a second slower, but I think they made some changes to this car and it made it better. So far, the strategy is working pretty well.
Nemechek finally pitted, so that cycles Briscoe to the top. So we're back through a full cycle now. Briscoe, Wallace, Hamlin, Larson. So Ross Chastain was running in third just a couple of laps ago. He's been overtaken by Denny and Kyle. And then Austin Cindric is 6th. Austin Dillon is 7th. And then William Byron. Reddick is hanging tough after that quick adjustment and fix on that stop. And then Christopher Bell in the 10. Let's talk more about William Byron. Regular series, season, I should say, champion, and feeling, Dave Burns, very confident about his chances to be a champion at year's end.
Certainly could be, and he's cycled out a little bit better, maybe one position or so during that round of stops. But was it the right way to go on changes? Listen.
The adjustment felt a little weird on the short run, and I took the rear out, so. A little air out of the right front, a little air in the left front. I mean, I don't know if I love it.
Crew Chief Rudy Fugle telling his driver what he did, doesn't know if he loves it according to the driver. And he said that patch, that's turns 1 and 2, he said it's a little funky over there. So they'll be looking at this, trying to perfect what they're doing here tonight.
I love the feedback about it not feeling good on the short run, Jeff, right? Because even if it looks better on the stopwatch long run, you have to be ready. Maybe that's something you would take out if we have a sprint to the end of the stage or the end of the race.
It's pretty interesting. You heard him talking about the patch in 1 and 2 and how it changes the race car. Well, look, 2021's when they did it. Look how black the racetrack was. Now, today, you can hardly see that patch. It looks like it's faded and lost grip like the rest of the racetrack, but it still has a little more grip and it's smoother. it's a little bit smoother and the car drives differently in that patch. Even though you can't see it, it's sitting there. William Byron did a great job of describing what it was doing to his race car.
Here comes Tyler Reddick. This is for 8th place. And when you took Steve and myself around in the pace car yesterday morning, you could hear the difference. Here goes Reddick, dives down low. Very aggressive, very decisive. Great work from Tyler Reddick. You could feel the difference and you could hear the difference. So what was it like from the steering wheel for you in a road car?
It's just smoother. You know, it has a little more grip, but the asphalt, because it's newer, it's not as rough. And it makes it smoother, and less bumps through the racetrack tend to make the car drive better.
As we take a look back here at Chase Elliott, who's currently running 17th. They started back in the 21st position on that first initial start, lost a couple positions, but then quickly made that back up and have stalled here around 17th. Remember, he went about 5 laps further than the first leaders onto pit road, just hoping to make that up on the backside. Was tight that first run, then came out, was a little bit loose, and recently has been asking his crew chief there, Alan Gustin, you see on the right, how his lap times compare to the cars ahead, and he's been looking pretty good according to them. They've been giving him updates and saying that was a pretty good lap. So that long run speed that we saw in practice may still be in that 9-car Chase Elliott. It's just taking a while.
Well, the poor qualifying may cost the 9 stage points. You have to be determined with 49 to go. But if he has a long run car with so many laps left, we see if he can cycle up over the next pit cycle. Staying on the front side of the pit cycle, the 48 of Alex Bowman once again comes to pit road with 49 to go. I like the aggression. You know, when you make the playoffs without a win, you get in here on points. I'm not saying you don't belong, but I think you have to swing a little bit more for the fences, Kim.
Yeah, and with where they qualified, they knew they were going to have an aggressive strategy to begin with. Crew Chief Blake Harris, looks like there might be an issue there. Not sure what it is. So this is going to be detrimental to their stop. Air gun, it looks like the gun was not working on the right side for the changer. Struggling to turn, though. This is going to absolutely cause a hiccup for this team, Steve.
This is going to absolutely kill it. So obviously now the jack is dropped on the right front. So the right rear gun wouldn't work. He went over to get another one. The front changer goes to the right rear, works on the car, then they drop it. This is going to be, look at the pit stop. Look down here. We're looking at normally 9 or 10 seconds. North of 40 seconds, dead on 40 seconds. So a 30-second over average stop. It all started on the right rear. The gun either malfunctioned, came unplugged. You see the communication from on top of the box to below. Let's take a look. The back of the car, watch this. The hose looks normal, it's plugged in, he's checking his gun, it won't work, he's waving, nothing happens, and then look back here behind pit wall. You're gonna see in this area, somewhere down here, they're gonna bring him another gun. There it is. They hand the gun over, but he doesn't feel he has time to unhook it. You wonder if the air's on or not on. What a, the secondary gun is not plugged into the hose. Preparation. The second gun not plugged into the air hose. Oh man, that spare gun you would think should already have its own air hose behind pit wall. Small details matter. I don't know why the gun broke, but that's why there is a third gun. It should already be plugged in and ready to go. It obviously wasn't for the 48, which cost even more time.
Welcome back to Darlington Raceway. Here as you see the leader of the race, Chase Briscoe, has hit pit road. He went a little bit further than some of the other leaders, considering he was the first of the leaders on pit road in the beginning of this cycle. This should be their second and final stop for this stage on the green, and it looks like a smooth stop, and he's away.
40 to go, Parker. The Go Gibbs Racing teammates pitting Denny Hamlin on pit road. It was much better that run. He said too tight to start, but much better up the hill through 1 and 2 at the end of that run, Kim.
And for Bubba Wallace, just complaining of a free condition, needs just a little bit more rear stability as they come for routine service for fresh Goodyear tires and Snow Go fuel.
Little Darlington stripe on the right rear quarter panel of the 23.
Oh, had to stop as Zane Smith was coming in.
Oh, now he hits his tire carrier. Oh, what a mess.
Right there.
Now he's on the hose.
Let's take a look exactly what happens. You're going to see the 38 right in the middle of the screen is going to start turning left. Now look, the 38 concedes, but the 38 has the right of way. The car entering has the right of way. The car leaving has to be clear to re-enter traffic. Bubba Wallace goes. Zane Smith concedes the position because it was going to be a disaster for both of them.
I think that's the point. Good heads up from both of them. Here's Dave Burns.
On pit lane, Kyle Larson. He had cycled to the lead, gets a chassis adjustment there to keep up with this racetrack. Drivers get a little nervous when everyone's spinning around them, but Cliff Daniels told him, your lap times are good. You're making good pace. Give me a couple more. He did, Marty.
Ryan Blaney said the fire off was better and it turns better, but I needed to hang on longer. So Jonathan Hassler making the call to bring him down pit road here with 37 to go. Slightly longer, that might get them a little bit of a tire advantage at the end of the run, Parker.
And Chase Elliott also on pit road. He commented that he felt like the right rear was less mad at him on this run. Still a little bit tight in the center, 4 tires, and he's away, Marty.
Christopher Bell keeps talking about how the car can be a little bit better, and he feels like if he can get that better, it'll help him certainly on the longer run. A little bit too tight in the center of 1 and 2, but then free on the exit of 1 and 2, and he said he just needs more rear grip on entry of turn 3. 20 team coming down pit road. You see that adjustment being made to tighten him up.
Been a positive night for the JGR Toyotas, that's for sure, as Christopher Bell and the Ream Camry is released. It's been strong from pole sitter Hamlin. It's been strong from Bell. And then the 19 of Chase Briscoe, who has led the most laps in this race so far with 53.
I love that shot. We just forgot how much hustle it takes to run around the apron on 1 and 2. All right, you love this 23 paint scheme right here. Let's listen into the radio.
Sorry, I lost my result. Paint scheme.
Sounded to me like that was either the crew chief or the spotter, Freddie Caff, saying that they lost him because of the paint scheme. So I don't know if that was some sort of communication error. Let's listen. So I don't know if he's talking about the 23 paint scheme or maybe the spotter lost the 38 because of the 38's paint schemes. I mean, that is very difficult. Look, we joke about it up here. Now, we have these great camera shots. But if you step out of the booth and kind of do this just with your plain sight, they don't stand out quite as consistent as they once did when they had very consistent paint schemes week in and week out. Marty?
Steve, we heard the one radio transmission from Shane Van Gisbergen about his frustration with the car. There were several more as that run went on. Cody said, this thing is so bad, I'm sorry, I'm very frustrated. His biggest frustration, turn 2. He said it just will not turn off of turn 2. SVG struggling, but again, running longer, though stopping twice here in stage 1.
SVG is released. Meanwhile, John Hunter Nemechek is back out in front, but on rotation, on cycle. Chase Briscoe, who sits in second, is the man to watch. There he is there, just looming large in the mirror of Nemechek's. This guy here who won here a year ago, biggest win of his career for the then Stuart Haas Racing organization. He said, boy, it was such a tough environment as the season went on because we all knew we were looking for jobs no matter what you did within the organization. Everybody was moving on. On the Monday morning after I won my first Southern 500, he said it was an incredible turnaround, Jeff, in just team morale and spirit. He said it was a fantastic feeling.
Oh, there's nothing better than winning the Southern 500. See that Zane Smith that trouble he had on pit road. He is 2 laps down.
Trimble on board giving us a look back from Ryan Priest's Ford at RFK. Meanwhile, there's just 31 laps left in the opening stage. Bass Pro Shops Toyota Camry of Chase Briscoe. Joe Gibbs Racing leads the way by just under 2 seconds over his teammate Denny Hamlin. While things are going well for those guys, story not so great for Alex Bowman and Hendrick Motorsports. Tell us more, Kim.
Yeah, currently a lap down. I want to revisit that disastrous stop where they bled out time. It looked as though originally on the video that there was an air gun problem. Checked in with the team. The air gun was actually not the problem. Both hoses for both air guns we saw came disconnected from the pit box, is what the team told me.
Great update, Kim. Remember, these guns are provided to the teams, but let's take a look exactly what happened. So let's start. He's in the box already. Focus down here. These two gentlemen. So there's the issue on the right side. Look, they grab the hose. They realize there's an issue. It's unhooked. It's in the guy's hand. So now he goes in, he plugs it in. Remember, total confusion over here. They don't know what's going. So now as he comes around, this crew member in this area right here, watch this. He's going to reach forward. He's going to point to tell him to go back, urging him to say, hey, the gun works. He's pointing, and then all of a sudden right here, thumbs up. He's giving him the thumbs up. But the communication is too late to go into the spare gun, so it wasn't a pit gun issue. It was the air supply to the pit gun. Once again, it's still going to be frustrating. That is something that should be checked and double-checked and triple-checked. There's just really, you can't have anything like this. And then this right here is just the pit crew reliving what is a nightmare stop to start the playoffs.
And while we were showing you that replay, Alex Bowman, here he is here. He's going back and forth with race leader Chase Briscoe. This is to try and stay just one lap down. Briscoe eases by. That puts Bowman now 2 laps down. All because of that. There are 2 playoff drivers not on the lead lap, Alex Bowman and Shane Van Gisbergen. Bowman 2 laps down, SVG 1 lap down. Here's the Toyota on board with Denny Hamlin as he breezes by Bowman.
Yeah, that Bowman crew It's interesting because all the guys over pit wall normally run these open microphones where they can talk to one another, but I'm betting that pit support probably doesn't have, because you never think a poor guy behind pit wall has to give instructions. What's even more shocking, like when you look at the kind of the rankings, well, right here, I mean, Alex Bowman is 4th of all the playoffs cars when it comes to pit crew. But those will be what I consider normal stops. What I just saw right there, you know, I'm gonna leave it out. I'm gonna wait for Paul Harvey to show up, tell us the rest of the story of what happened. But I just can't see a way that that thing just comes unhooked without it just not being properly checked or properly engaged. Remember, it's second pit stop of the day, so they had already done a pit stop at one point.
Second of perhaps 10 of the day. Parker.
Well, guys, what I love about this racetrack and many drivers is that you can tackle it in so many different ways. And one of the ways the 19 team is asking Chase Briscoe is to have that higher entry into turn 1. This was a line made famous by Denny Hamlin and Kyle Larson in recent years. And you just saw him do it there. Instead of going into turn 1 onto the apron, which is his tendency, as he has this lead right now, about a half second over Denny Hamlin, the team has been asking him to get used to using that line and trying it out. And Jeff, you know how tough this is. When you do that line, it's like you're heading directly for the wall, and then suddenly the car catches. They've been asking Chase to get more comfortable with it because it can pay dividends in traffic and when you're trying to find some speed in that race car, because his tendency is to use that lower line.
Yeah, historically here, you want to enter turn 1 low and then just drift up to the wall. And over the last few years, several drivers, as Parker mentioned, Denny Hamlin being kind of the guy that started it, just start entering higher, kind of like you do in turn 3. Enter higher, but you don't have to turn the car as much. Let's watch Chase Briscoe. This shot right here is a great shot of it. See, he's not down. Well, actually, he is still using that low entry. Right and left side tires to the white line, then up to the wall. The team may be asking him to do it, but he may not like it. He may feel like, hey, okay, I know maybe Denny Hamlin can do it, but I'm fine doing this. I like this. Works for me. You have to be willing to try stuff for sure, because this track's going to change. There you go. Is another good shot. Watch it as we go down this way. Even at that, a little bit higher entry. Got to the bottom, but he stayed against the wall a little bit longer. Little things here, Steve. Moving your car 2 feet to the right, 2 feet to the left at this racetrack can make a huge difference in the car.
Here's something ominous for the competition, because Chase Briscoe, who's led 68 laps so far today, said that we haven't realized our potential yet. First year for Chase Briscoe at JGR. First year with him and crew chief James Small, learning each other, learning each other's language and what their requirements are and what works. So far, so good in this first race of the playoffs. Kim?
Yeah, let's get an update on Austin Cindric, currently running in that 9th position. Darlington is actually one of just 3 tracks with more than 6 Cup starts for Austin, where he has no top 10s, but solidly in the top 10 for the first portion of this race. When I talked to crew chief Brian Wilson, he said, we looked back at the spring and found we were a little overzealous in the things we kind of baked into the car that caused rear tire fall off. They made some improvements. Very happy with the long run in practice yesterday. Right now, though, Austin just reporting a little free in and off, Dave.
Richmond winner and playoff driver Austin Dillon had a good qualifying run the other day. Whoa, watch that right there. Down to the inside, and looks like he might complete the pass. Dillon had a 9th place qualifying run. That was his best in 4 years here. He said, I worked very, very hard on qualifying this week. Crew chief Richard Boswell said, our long run setup is very good here because Austin takes very good care of the car. But he really wanted to work on qualifying. He did so, running in 12th right now, Marty.
Dave, in Countdown to Green, Steve mentioned that he thinks the tracks here in round number 1 in 2025 are tougher than they've ever been for the playoff drivers. The only driver to win at all 3 of those tracks, you're riding on board with him. Joey Logano with the Hunt Brothers on pizza onboard camera. And Logano, they have not hit it right tonight. First run, way too free. Second run, way too tight. And then he said it fired off much better this run. But the other thing, Lee, that's kind of creeping into the picture here, and you'll see it right now, the sunset coming down right at turn 3 where these drivers drive right into that. I have no idea how they see that entry into 3.
About another half an hour, Marty, until the lights take effect and that sun in their eyes softens for sure. And we haven't seen a lot of Logano for that reason that Marty just explained. And as far as playoff points for the defending series champion, He's on the wrong side of it at the moment, but early days in the Cookout Southern 500.
The fastest car on the racetrack right now is Tyler Reddick. Remember the conversation that Chase Briscoe's team was having with him about the high entry into one? There it is. Tyler Reddick, the fastest car on track. He is not on the bottom of the racetrack into turn one. He's using that high entry. His team is seeing that Reddick is 2 to 3 tenths a lap faster than everybody on the racetrack, and they're seeing him do something different. So they're relaying that information. It's not coming from what they're seeing from the 11 car, it's what they're seeing from this car.
Think about a year ago for Tyler Reddick when he came here, he had terrible illness. Remember in the car he was asking, Stevie, you remember he was asking for Tums? We thought he was going to vomit inside the car. He had some food poisoning, he had a stomach issue. The drive down from Charlotte was not pleasurable. The whole weekend wasn't pleasurable. But he gutsed it out. He battled through it. Today, he narrowly avoided a massive situation on the opening lap when he had that car broadside exiting turn 2 after a collision with Josh Berry. Jeff described it as just a miraculous save, and he's making the most of having a second chance.
That recovery continued on pit road when under a green flag. They fixed that roof flap and that diffuser flap. So this 45 team looking kind of playoff ready. And that's how I look at the running order. You see those blue squares. Those are the playoff drivers. Briscoe, Hamlin, Reddick, Chastain, Wallace, Larson, Bell. They're filled up in the top 7, all looking to score stage points. Cindric and Byron also trying to score stage points. Nemechek on that alternate strategy, just trying to slip and slide those old tires to the finish. Really, to me, the big stories are probably those that haven't, right? Berry off with an accident, Bowman 2 laps down, now SVG a lap down.
Coming to 8 laps to go on the stage. Chase Briscoe, see on the left side of the screen. Look at his left side tires below the white line, getting into turn 1. Tyler Reddick, a car width higher. Just making his car not have to turn it as much into the center of 1 and 2. But that is a very new line at this racetrack. Denny Hamlin started doing it. Tyler Reddick started doing it. Kyle Larson started doing it.
What line did you take when you won the Southern 500?
Left side's below that white line.
Really?
Yes. Newer drivers are always looking to change the game, always looking to improve. Tyler Reddick's one of those guys. He's comfortable all day long, right on the boards. Right side tires, all but hitting the wall. He'll do it all night.
Look at SVG. He pitted a few laps after Reddick. Reddick at 72, SVG at 81. So 9 lap fresher tires. When you ask yourself why you run long, because it costs you time, this is the payoff. Now for the 88, it's going to be a little too late. He's a lap down. He needs to get the 35 of Riley Herbst and Todd Gilliland, the 34 up the road. We've got 7 laps to do it. Let's see. Well, I see the 35. He's the car in front of the 11. But I think the 34 is even up the road farther than that. The green, that Pickles machine, there it is. So that 34 Pickles. Now listen, if the 34 could pass the 19,
exactly,
that puts him back on the lead lap. So Briscoe, these leaders, even with the better cars, the older tires are fading. Look at Todd Gilliland. He knows I want to get by this car.
Oh.
Herbst wants him to get by it because that puts Herbst in the free pass position. And then SVG is trying to run them both down. You see him right behind the 11. So with 5 to go, we could talk a lot about who's going to score points. But the bigger story might be who saves a lap. Let's see, does Hamlin just let him go?
Inside 88, 71's working outside of him. Still inside 88.
Here comes Michael McDowell up in the background as well.
Clear.
And he's 2 down on really fresh tires.
Has really fresh tires, 2 back.
Yeah,
on
really
the
fresh. See, that's a real technical term right there. Really fresh.
Oh, 3 wide. Look at this. There goes McDowell. So he's trying to get himself just 1 lap down.
He has to get all the way to Briscoe to do that. Those fresh tires, you think like it's impossible because it's half a front stretch, but you just watch it, just how much grip they have now that there's cars out of the way. There's always battles somewhere.
Here goes Van Gisbergen, dives to the inside line on Denny Hamlin, able to get that done.
And he might be able to chase that 71, right? Let's see.
And the 45 has run the 11 down. That race with SVG slowed Denny Hamlin down, and here comes Reddick.
There he goes on one of his co-owners. So Reddick to 2nd place. Meanwhile, look at this scramble. Gilliland, McDowell, they're all trying to get past Chase Briscoe.
And McDowell has to go because he knows 2 laps down is kind of the end of your night. You have to try to get 1 down. There's a lot of pathways back from 1. I think the 71 has no issue. But this battle between Gilliland and Herbst, the 2 green cars, 2 different shades of green, those next 2 cars in line, that's the battle for the free pass unless they can get by Briscoe. Herbst trying to make something of it. His 2 teammates of Reddick and Bowman, Reddick and Bubba Wallace are in the playoffs. Riley having his first full-time year.
Boy, this is going to be a thrilling final 2 laps in the opening stage because SVG's got them inside as well. That last car you see in shot, the white car, the WeatherTech Chevrolet for Trackhouse Racing. They're all lining up for a shot for their own selfish reasons on Chase Briscoe.
Oh, and it's all going to happen. You mentioned that last lap is going to be busy. Does Briscoe fight them or does he concede? Herbst to the bottom.
Gillen's going to throttle up on the outside, trying to use that momentum, get alongside him down the front straightaway.
Oh.
He can't do it.
What's 88 got to do? What a squeeze by Herbst to fit that car in there.
This is like the last lap of the race, but it's the last lap of stage 1, brought to you by Credit One Bank. Here comes SVG on the inside.
And that opens the door for Gilliland.
What a move.
This is for the free pass. Only the front car will get it because they're behind the 19.
Now he's got to defend. Meanwhile, what an opening stage it's been for JGR and Chase Briscoe. 85 laps led, and he wins the first stage of the Southern 500.
Battled for inside the top 10, the 42 right here on old tires. He will stay 9th, Blaney 10th, but what a drive from the 88 of SVG to get back. He'll get the lead lap. Well done.
Battle for 25th. Right, it could make a difference whether he can advance, staying in the lead lap.
Let's give a shout out too to John Hunter Nemechek. He made up 19 positions from where he started to finish inside the top 10, stage 1. NASCAR on USA is brought to you by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Only pay for what you need. Bank of America. What would you like the power to do? And by Chewy. For life with pets, there's Chewy with everything. Beautiful night here in South Carolina, Darlington and the Cookout Southern 500. That was a fun end to stage 1. involving that car we were just looking at there, Shane Van Gisbergen. Obviously, it was an awesome effort from Chase Briscoe and also John Hunter Nemechek. There was lots going on there, and pit road is getting busy. Dave Burns, you're up.
Ross Chastain hits his marks perfectly. He told his team that it was the tightest of the run, built loose in, but too tight on the fire-off, Kim.
Tyler Reddick, top right, said a little tight on entry. Wants to be freer, but he knows it will trend that way, so they decide to leave it alone. Just tires and fuel. Did tell him as long as the green is free. Parker.
And for race leader Chase Briscoe, he said it's still loose and it over-rotates over that patch in turn 2. The team told the management, Marty, 4 tires and away.
Denny Hamlin said the middle part of the run was really good, but I lost all my rear grip, especially on entry of turn 3. Does pit stall number 1 pay off for Hamlin? They gain 1 spot, but Briscoe wins the race off pit road, Lee.
Crew Chief James Small told me at the 19 team he's been very impressed with the improvement of his guys, his pit crew. They're getting better and better every race this year. Their driver wins the race off.
Welcome back to Darlington Raceway as the sun sets over the track. Too tough to tame. Powerball and the South Carolina Education Lottery are giving fans something to play for, a big Powerball jackpot. Right now, the current jackpot is $1.1 billion. Every $2 Powerball ticket sold here supports education in South Carolina. Joining Lottery for some fun earlier today was driver John Hunter Nemechek. South Carolina is on a winning streak. One of its players, Darrell Fair, is locked into the NASCAR Powerball playoff for a chance to win $1 million. Stay tuned. We'll announce the round of 12 from Bristol on September 13th. Powerball, the official lottery game of NASCAR. And Marty, we are only one stage down, and we have seen a lot of action here at Darlington already.
Yeah, Kim, Marty Snyder, Dale Jarrett joining you from the Peacock Pit Box. Kim mentioned it. It was an eventful start to the Southern 500, but then stage one kind of settled down a little bit, DJ.
Yeah, it settled down a lot, but I think that we saw some different strategies as far as how many laps they were going to go, and then some charges by some drivers. Tyler Reddick, that was impressive. Well, we showed how impressive it was that he didn't crash that race car. I've never seen a car off of turn 2 get that sideways and not at least hit the wall at some point. So just amazing that he's up there with a fast car again.
I would say if you told Billy Scott after lap 1, when all that went down, they would earn 9 stage points in stage 1, I don't think he would have believed you, DJ.
Not at all. I mean, they had a lot of issues just from that getting sideways that much. He did nothing wrong, just a victim of circumstances there, but they have righted the ship now, and this young man knows how to get around this racetrack.
How big of a moment was that for SVG at the end of that stage to get in a position to get the free pass?
Well, looking at it right now, it was huge. We'll see at the end of the night if he can play that into something, at least a top 20 finish, but he drove his tail off getting back there and getting in that position.
And Lee, if you look at those points earned here in stage one, all but one of those drivers earning points, playoff drivers. I have a feeling that's going to be a theme for the entire playoff run.
It was definitely an eclectic blend, wasn't it? And there's some non-playoff drivers featuring here so far this evening. Stage 2 coming up with 109 laps to go once we get back to racing. Steve?
Desperate times call for desperate measures, and that's where the 48 of Alex Bowman currently is. He waved around, which means everybody pitted. He stayed out. He's driven now around. He's only 1 lap down, but he's in nearly 50 lap tires. This is a calculated, we need a lap 1 restart wreck, just like we saw to start the race. That's what the 48's looking for.
On pit road, Chase Elliott, it's been a struggle tonight. He gained 4 spots. Good pit stop for that team. The opposite of that, Austin Dillon, who was having a solid night, he lost 6 spots.
Good start to the night for the Legacy Motor Club Toyotas of Nemechek and Jones. Both cars in the top 13 positions. Interesting stage 1. Sun is beginning to set here in South Carolina. Let's get stage 2 going of the Cookout Southern 500. Really good restart on the inside from Denny Hamlin. Reddick's going with him. Briscoe's up high. Ross Chastain, it's been a productive night so far for the Trackhouse racer. Teammates side by side.
Denny Hamlin's got forward momentum on Briscoe's going to turn really early. Try to slide up in front of him. Contact.
Whoa.
Yeah, he slid, made contact on the left front fender of the 19 car.
And then Briscoe had to defend from Ross Chastain, and that's opened the door for Tyler Reddick down the backstretch into 3.
Yeah, Chastain lost his momentum. Reddick trying to take advantage of it. Chastain's had a solid night. Fights for the position 3, kept it.
The 2:23.11 cars, look at this. Contact, that's Carson Hocevar and Chase Elliott.
That's a lot of smoke between the two. Pretty big tire contact. We'll see if there's any damage.
Looks like some anger.
Yes. I feel that had to start down at 3 and 4. So there's more to that story than we just saw the finish of it.
Don't worry, we're looking. We'll show it to you. We can find it.
That's the fight for 14.
It might not be over.
And this is where some of the danger lies for the playoff drivers, mixing it up with the non-playoff drivers to get it started in the first race of the round of 16. Let's have a look at what happened. Here's Joey Logano's view.
Oh, we get a checkup right there. Somebody's well off the pace. And the 9 needs a lane, and the 77 doesn't want to give him one, and the 9 just squeezes his way down. That's the 2 of Cindric. So the 77 was trying to use the 2 as a pick. Chase Elliott not very happy.
Whoa! Almost around for the 77.
And now Elliott's able to say, wow! And Carson Hocevar goes up the track right in front of Chris Buescher.
Deep breath. Get your momentum back. We'll drive by the 42. They're by 7.
A lot happened right here. See, the 9 kind of slides to 77. 77 trying to drive back underneath him. Then sideways into the back of the Nemechek, almost lost it. Whew. Things are getting a little wild, Steve. And then he made contact with the 17 car.
That was a crazy couple of laps. Meanwhile, the teammates are still going at it at the front. Hamlin up on the wall. Briscoe, the Toyota onboard, gives us a good view as we ride with the 3-time Southern 500 winner.
See Hamlin running that little bit lower line that time through 1 and 2. Took the air away from Briscoe. Let's see what he does over here.
One lane lower, one back, 3/4 back, inside on the very bottom, inside on the very bottom.
He should get momentum on the exit of 4. He does. He's able to drive back in front of Briscoe. Briscoe's not going to be done with this fight. He knows where Hamlin's weak point is. Right in the middle of the corner, Hamlin looks like he just doesn't rotate. What does Hamlin do this time? I think he should go to the very top. Nope, goes to the bottom. That opens the door for the 19. Now the 19 is going to hang a left, trying to get alongside him. It's fun. Lap 130, 367.
And back in line.
100 to go in stage 2. It was a miserable Daytona last weekend for Denny Hamlin. He told us that on the radio, and you saw it. But he's washed that away, focused on here, feels at home. He's so good here. This is the 12th straight race led here for Denny Hamlin, and that's the longest streak since Darrell Waltrip had 17 straight in the late 70s and early 80s, as he continues to get pressured by his teammate, the 3rd JGR member, Christopher Bell, there, side by side with Kyle Larson.
Larson just gives the spot up. Briscoe continuing the fight. Now he's alongside the 11. Things get tight right here. Denny Hamlin just lifts. Did not want to leave side by side on the exit of turn 2. Knew Briscoe was faster. Now look, late in the race, he's not going to give that spot up.
I think I have damage.
Oh.
So Hamlin thinks he has damage from some point.
He's concerned he has some toe damage. Meaning made some contact at some point. Maybe his steering wheel is off a little bit.
Well, remember, they contacted on the restart, on the first lap of the restart.
Yeah, it could have been from that.
Use the dirty air to your advantage, balance-wise.
See the red stripe on Denny Hamlin's steering wheel. He knows where that is supposed to be when he's going down the straight. And if that red stripe is off just a little bit, that would give him an indication that maybe there is a little bit of an alignment issue.
Kim?
Now it's Bowman on pit road. This is by design. You see the chassis adjustment. Crew Chief Blake Harris told his driver at the start of this green flag, we're going to take the pit stop 8 to 10 laps into this unless there's a caution. Remember, they took the wave around to get a lap back, so did not stop at the stage in. Alex Bowman saying not turning well. It's tight, but when he turns the wheel, it's snapping loose. So those 2 ends of the race car disconnected. Problems have been just detrimental to them all day. There might be a problem for the 45. Another of our playoff drivers, Tyler Reddick, came on the radio and said there's smoke in the cockpit. He said, I don't know what's wrong. It feels okay. Crew Chief Billy Scott came on the radio and said everything looks okay car side-wise. You're just going to have to deal with it for right now.
You have to be very careful. If we look at the left side where that damage is, it's right at the exhaust pipe. So what happens is you can crush the side, the rocker panel, the exhaust itself can get moved. So it can either dislodge and put exhaust into the car. It can be dislodged to the point where maybe something is against some of the foam or a piece of the carbon that could catch a fire. So a lot we're going to have. I mean, you see the fire out the pipes when you lift. So that damage right on the exhaust pipe. We'll keep an eye on that as the sun goes down to see if it gets worse for the 45.
Been a really solid night so far for Reddick and Wallace of 2311 Racing. And so too for the 11 of Denny Hamlin. Tell us more, Marty.
Yeah, Lee, let's clean up what just happened on the radio with Denny Hamlin. He said he was way too free to hold his teammate Chase Briscoe behind him, but he was concerned they got a little bit of damage on that restart when he did take the lead. But Chris Kell did tell him, I think the steering from everything that we can see is fine. Hamlin's not said a word since that moment, but there is another possible issue with the 11. Listen to the radio.
My clutch pedal is extremely easy to push in. I've definitely had issues shifting more than just that one that happened. Shifting issues? Yes. Downshift.
All right, Steve, so unpack that for me with 93 to go here in stage 2. That clutch issue or the ease at which you can push in that pedal, how big of a concern is that if you're Chris Gale?
Well, there's two kind of things that don't align for me. You don't use the clutch on the racetrack. So the downshifting he's talking about maybe is a gearbox setting of some sort, because you just kind of blip the throttle and put it down a gear on the racetrack itself. Now the clutch being easy to push, any sort of problem with the clutch would be really detrimental, because on the green flag pit stops, you use the clutch while sitting in your pit box, leaving your pit box, all of those issues Jeff, let's take a look at that restart. See some wheel spin out of the 19.
Yeah, the 19 had wheel spin and was getting a push from Chastain. Contact on the front, right there.
And then they contacted further around in between turns 1 and 2. So the teammates coming together at the beginning of stage 2. .87 laps to go in stage 2 here of the Southern 500. Time for a Toyota driver update. Pretty easy to see. It's Chase Briscoe, the race leader. He's been out in front for more than 100 laps so far this evening here in Darlington. Strong night for JGR and for 2311 Racing. Checking in with Parker Kligerman. Parker?
Right, for Chase Elliott, he started this race back in the 21st position, and it's been slow but steady progress up to the 14th position here, but at the end of the last stage, we got some insight as to what he's been struggling with. Basically, he's been trying so hard to take care of the right rear tire of that race car. He said at the end of the last run, I hurt the front tires doing that and got too tight late. Alan Gustin responded to that by going back to the way they started this race in terms of the setup of that race car, Marty.
Parker further behind Chase Elliott is Joey Logano, sitting in the 22nd position in the 22 car. He told Paul Wolf a moment ago, I have no idea what direction this car is going from one moment to the next. Then he asked the team, can you give me some indication of steering traces and what's going on with my race car? And then he just told Paul a second ago, it is back to plowing like a dump truck. It's been a struggle tonight for the 22 team, Dave.
Oh, where has Austin Dillon gone from a 9th starting position? The last run really, really tight, and the car not good enough. They had to make some changes when it came down pit road. Unfortunately, that stop was slow. 5 spots lost on pit road, entered 14th, left 19th. He runs 24th currently, Kim.
And Dave, as we talk pit row woes, we saw that from Alex Bowman. Remember, rewind to earlier in the race, they had that air gun hose come unplugged from the box. And remember, during pre-race, I told you guys that Blake Harris described this track for Alex as a hit or miss. Well, it has been a miss here tonight. They talked about needing to limit their mistakes. They have not checked the box here at Darlington.
So many times the drivers will tell you, especially at places like this, and just how close things are now in the NASCAR Cup Series. You have to qualify well. Unfortunately, that did not happen yesterday for the driver of the Ally Chevrolet and the 48 team. Marty told us about Joey Logano's woes. The 22 is in position 22, and this is what happened with Ryan Preece just a few moments ago. It has been an eventful night for the Hurricane. Carson Hocevar. We showed you earlier he was involved in multiple incidents with different drivers, Chase Elliott being one of them. This was a few moments ago. Look at this for a save.
Yeah, big save. Obviously way too loose.
And then this.
And then that was actually the save. Looked like it was going to be another wreck, another spin. And then ultimately, this is the time it just comes around on him.
His teammate right behind him, Justin Haley.
Here's Logano's view.
Logano was worried he was going to be in a wreck, but he was glad the caution was coming out. As big of a struggle as it's been for the 22 car, he was loving a caution coming out, give him a chance to work on this race car.
So we had that
Worst
caution.
driving race car I've ever driven. I can't drive it anymore.
Oop. Steve, what would you say to your driver if he said that?
I'm not allowed to say that on television.
Copy.
You hear that a lot, you know, but the truth is, I'd love to pick on him, tell you he's young, 22 years old, 71 starts, but I've been told that by Hall of Famers. I've been like, from his perspective, that's what he believes. I think the true answer to your question is, okay, I understand that. Is it as clear as what it looks like? Are we just out of control, loose? Like, what do we need? I know it's bad, but worse driving doesn't, I don't know what knob to turn to fix bad driving. Like, how is it driving bad? You have to calm it down. You have to understand that this challenge of Darlington we've talked about all day, it started in the pre-race, it kind of accentuates everything. So you have the ability as a crew chief to get down, get a couple, you know, a drink of water. So I'd try really hard to not push the button on my radio.
Here is the, that was the Morgan & Morgan onboard of Kyle Busch. Kyle runs in 16th. This is the Trimble onboard view from Ryan Preece. We showed you that a little earlier. And We do have to say the initial caution of the race was caused by Josh Berry spinning on exit of turn 2. Josh has got back out on track, albeit some 119 laps down. But the Wood Brothers Ford is back out there and continuing the fight. Dave Burns, take it away.
You saw Ross Chastain dive to the right there, running second and running fast. His car is good, but a little tight in places, but really not bad for this point in the race at Darlington, Kim.
For Tyler Reddick, top right, seems like it's a little tighter as the track cools off, especially his entries will help him out with a little air pressure adjustment. No more reports of smoke in the cockpit, Parker.
And that's not the case for Chase Briscoe, who said it's ever so slightly too loose as he pulls away, Marty.
Denny Hamlin's team with a little bit of problems there, Parker. You see him having to swing back around to the left side to get that left rear tight, and now they fumble the wrench. Hamlin saying the car way too free, and look at all those spots the 11 is going to lose here on pit road. This team has been so consistent all year long, but had a rough day at Richmond a couple of weeks ago, and now we see them have to push him off with that clutch issue. Also behind him, you see Carson Hocevar backwards in his pit stall. They can make that stop there.
Well, you see the 11 slides forever getting into the pit stall, which seems okay, but then right there, timing issue on the right rear, the jack gets dropped, it's not tight, they come over, they jack it up. Oh, now they're just slow. We drop the round wrench. Takes forever to do the adjustment, and you go from a top 2 or 3 race car to nearly the last car on the lead lap was running 4th. He's going to be outside the top 50.
Exciting careers are available now nationwide, ensuring the U.S. Navy has its next generation of submarines. If you're looking for a stable, impactful career, visit buildsubmarines.com. We build giants because it takes one to build one. Boy, oh boy, pit road was eventful. Check this out.
Carson Hocevar coming into his box. They send the 20 of Bell. Big contact. The 20 has real damage.
Yeah, so 77 coming in after that spin, and very fortunate no crew members were hurt, but listen to this. And you mentioned it, very big damage to the right front, so bad stop for the 11. We also had a slow stop on the 23, and damage, big damage to the right front of the 20 of Bell, and we are still 25 or 30 laps from halfway. Welcome to the Southern 500.
And right in front of Christopher Bell is the 43 Dollar Tree Toyota of Eric Jones. Not in the playoff, but he's a two-time Southern 500 winner. Let's go. We're back to racing, and Ross Chastain wants to take the fight to chase Briscoe. Jones is on that low line in the green and white car. The quiet achiever of this front pack has been the one, the Trackhouse Chevy of Ross Chastain, who goes to the lead.
Oh, he's going to slide up in front. Uses a little discretion right there. 2 years ago, Chastain is not making that move. He's just clearing him. That's a wiser, smarter Ross Chastain.
He told us earlier this week, last year, missing out on the playoffs was brutal. He said first it was anger, and then I had to carefully manage to turn the anger into motivation. And he said, I will not let myself miss out on the playoffs this year. He has not, and now he's scrapping for the lead. But he's got Eric Jones with him, though. Here comes the Legacy Motor Club Toyota.
Oh, the one tries to run him down the hill. Fire out the pipes as these two sorted out. Look at the names on the left. Allmendinger running 7th. Nemechek up to 9th. So Legacy Motor Club, to your point, Diff, it's not just Jones. You mentioned it, a two-time winner here at this racetrack, but both cars showing speed.
Great to see AJ Allmendinger up there for Corlig Racing. AJ told me yesterday he never liked, sorry to upset you, Jeff, he never liked Darlington Raceway until recent years in the Xfinity Series where he started to do better, and he said, I had a mind shift on the place, and then I fell in love with it. And he said, we've got 10 races to go. Neither Corlig car made the playoffs. We've got 10 races to go to show everyone how good we can be. So it's a positive start for the Dinger in 7th.
Denny Hamlin trying to recover from that just painfully slow pit stop all the way back in 23rd. How about right in front of him, that 12 of Ryan Blaney? We showed the spin of the 20 and the 77. Well, that got parked right in front of Blaney, so Blaney couldn't get out of his pit box. So see right here, Blaney, he's trying to leave. The 20 gets sent, catches the 77, and look what happens. Blaney's done. Oh, he gets on the brake. Good news, no damage. Bad news, he's staring at the 77, staring at him.
It's wild how, here, watch this. What are you going to do? He goes to leave. Just, that's all you can do. I mean, it's, can't be in denial, right, Steve? You got to just accept the situation. But it's wild how many, we sit down with drivers every year before this race, and all 16 tell us, I just got to have a clean race.
I got to execute.
Got to have everything go right. And then this happens. The first race of the playoffs is always chaotic.
How about the Jackman from Spire Motorsports on the 77? He had cat-like reflexes with the jack in hand to jump up and pivot and turn away from danger.
And you see right there, Jonathan Hassler, the gentleman in the black baseball cap sitting in the middle. Blaney and Jonathan have won a championship together. Their demeanors are very, very similar, just kind of soft-spoken. The Purdue guy, Indiana guy.
There's SVG sitting there 19th, right? Have a clean race. He doesn't have the pace that some other guys have, but no trouble. Have a clean race and leave here and see what you've got.
He knows that people are expecting him not to make it through to the next round of these playoffs, and he wants to prove those people wrong.
This is going to be a fascinating little run here. 66 to go, 8 laps on the tires. There's some people that are probably going to pit and put tires on in the middle. There's some guys that are probably going to run this all the way out. And I just ask myself, what do you do if you're a Hamlin and Byron who have lost that track position, or a, Ryan Blaney there in the 12 car compared to the leaders? A non-playoff guy like Eric Jones, you can kind of freewheel, right? You can just be a little bit less tight. Understand that they have more to lose than you do.
Dave Burns.
And you guys have been alluding to it all night. Legacy Motor Club looking good for the 42 and 43. When I talked to the 43 crew chief, Ben Bayshore, this morning about Eric Jones' chances, he said, absolutely, we're improving in the right direction. And what Jones does so good here is keeps the tires underneath the race car, keeps them good for the entirety of the run. I said, did you ever get the winning feeling that he's had here before? He said, not really. but we think we can get there. I think they've gotten it right in front of him. Ross Chastain running so well in the one car was asked this week where he thought their strengths and weaknesses were. He said, I have to think about it. Let me see if we have speed first. Answer tonight, yes. And then execution. Then we'd see what we can do with strategy.
I want to tell you about a nice gesture from the Legacy Motor Club team for a fallen member of the local sheriff's office. John Hunter Nemechek recently visited the Darlington County Sheriff's Office, and the day after he made that visit, one of its officers, Devin Mason, was killed in the line of duty here in Darlington. A really sad set of circumstances. So both cars, the 42 and 43, are carrying commemorative decals for that fallen officer. A lovely gesture. Marty?
Lee continuing to watch that battle for second. Let's check in on Christopher Bell. He restarted 6th. That is another spot that Bell is losing back to 14th. So is there damage from what happened on pit road? Listen in.
We need some pictures. If the picture guy's listening, we need pictures now. Do anything for it, or can you tell?
It's like an intention's gone. It's about 6 feet or 6 inches long on the right front below the headlight.
The wheel still feels normal.
So, Steve, I'll direct you to that 20 on the left-hand side of the front of the car for Christopher Bell. He has said he's very loose, and Adam Stevens just told him a moment ago, I think that damage is really affecting us. So if there is a 6-inch hole on that left front or right front, and you see it right there, what's that going to do to the car for Bell the rest of the night?
So I'm not as concerned about where the 20 is worn out. I'm way more concerned down here on the splitter. That right there is the absolute major problem. The majority of the downforce on this car is about airspeed underneath the car. Anything upwind that disturbs that air is a major issue. So it could either slow the air down, killing the diffuser, shutting total downforce off, or rear downforce, and that is nearly impossible. That is a formed piece of carbon fiber. Jeff, you might be able to tape it, smooth it up, but this 20 car is going to want, they want yellows, right? They just want to be able to come down pit road and work on it now that they know they don't have the car running 14th. Unfortunately, this has kind of been a green style of race. We'll see what the 20 can do as the sun continues to set.
Yeah, and even if they get a lot of yellows, Steve, as you said, how much can they really repair it? And it's a very difficult part to work on. See right here, Reddick getting by Chastain, Jones by Chastain.
Prior to that Hocevar spin, 10 of the top 11 were playoff drivers. Now there's only 5 in the top 11. It has completely jumbled up the playoffs, and here they are. 2 playoff drivers, the 45 and the 1. Oh, this gets narrow. And the 1 is kind of not running the top. He's like a little bit down because he's trying to get some clean air. He doesn't want to follow the 43. And the 45 is like, man, I need, you know those 4 feet you're using? I need them. I need those 4 feet.
You got to share.
Yeah.
Chase Briscoe leads by more than 4 seconds. He's led 133 laps. That's more than he's led any other race this year. It has been a great night now under the lights for the 19. 53 laps to go in stage 2 here in the Cookout Southern 500. Lee Diffie, Jeff Burton, Steve Letarte with you under the lights here in South Carolina. On board with, thanks to Hunt Brothers Pizza, Joey Logano, who is doing Joey Logano kind of things. Not long ago, he was 22nd. He now runs 15th and pressuring Christopher Bell. However, he's got his teammate on the low side there. There's Austin Cindric.
3 drivers couldn't run 3 different lines. It shows you all the different options. William Byron trying to work his way up from the back. Austin Dillon had that pit stop, bad pit stop earlier.
And Bell's damage has slowed the 20 down, and he kind of has them stacked up behind him. The 22, the 2. If you look behind the 2, there's the 7, bottom of the screen, the 12 of Blaney. They are just stacked up, and patience are going to wear thin between these 5 cars very quickly. On the bottom of the screen, 2 wide, 2 deep. And behind those 4 cars, the 11 of Hamlin, wondering what has happened to his race car now that he's lost track position. '24 of William Byron running 21st after a slow pit stop, Dave.
Yeah, Steve, let's show everyone what happened on that pit stop from Williams' onboard camera. Came in, and boy, you see him almost get into the wall right there. Leaving his pit stall, they're like, oh, hey, come back. That wheel is not installed correctly. Good catch by the team, but that cost him time on pit road. Now he's released, tire carrier saying go. When he got back into traffic, though, he had this report on the car.
All right, mark the rhythm here. Inch at a time, ball out front. Take the plow box. Gonna work our way forward.
Plow box, yes indeed. And Brandon Lyons, a spotter, just trying to encourage him one at a time. So far, Williams got 2 back, but he's still deep in traffic.
He was running 10th when all that happened and fell to 22nd. Could have been a lot worse. Team did a good job of recognizing it.
Steve, what happens next week for these prominent players that have had these kinds of incidents on pit road? A lot of extra video review. What happens from the crew chief's point of view?
Yeah, I think a lot of it tonight seems to be really just execution errors. It's the pressure of the playoffs, and I think that would be my story. It would be, hey, we've got away with it. It wasn't perfect, but we're now in the second race of the playoffs. We're still in this battle. That would be kind of my mindset. These guys have been great up and down pit road all year long. It's kind of, we have to get back to what got us here.
Saw Joey Logano putting a lot of pressure on Christopher Bell. Finally drives to his left rear.
Let's make sure we clear.
Watch how close this is. No contact, just good hard racing. Gosh, those 2 playoff drivers didn't want to be racing that hard for 14th.
No, but where Joey sits now is a lot better than in the low 20s. So, Chase Briscoe, Tyler Reddick, Ross Chastain, Kyle Larson. 4 playoff drivers in the top 5. You see the blue boxes there. That's what designates that. Then you go back to Chase Elliott. He's in the 10. That's a lot better than where the 9 was previously. And then Bubba Wallace, Joey Logano in 14th, Christopher Bell 15th, Austin Cindric 17th. Blaney, Shane Van Gisbergen on the lead lap and in 20th and ahead of the regular season champion.
He just passed halfway in the race. We're closing in on about halfway since the last restart to the end of this stage. So if anyone is going to hit pit road, I think there's a chance you could stay out. But if you are going to pit, Parker, I expect it in the next 5 laps.
Right, but we may have big issues for the leader there. Chase Briscoe, take a listen to his radio.
We got a voltage warning. I turned my cold shirt off. We're down to 12 days. I'm 14-1. Just double check, make sure that alternator is on here.
They then came back as he gave another update about the voltage. They told him to turn his helmet fan off right now. So basically, he's got no cool shirt, no helmet fan in the Southern 500 most grueling races of the year. And he's lost about 2 seconds of his lead, Marty. Big problems for the Chase Briscoe to 19.
45 to go here in stage 2, and the window opening for the leaders to come down pit road. Ryan Blaney kind of lost his track position, said he can definitely tell the track is changing. It's getting a little bit tighter, Dave.
Kyle Larson rolls into his pit stall. Better this run so far was a report a few laps ago. Coming in here, no major changes, 4 tires for the 5 car. The 24 now on pit road. The first stall in for William Byron. They'll see if they can have a clean stop this time for the 24 driver as he'll be on and off of pit road.
Much calmer pit road than what we see in the yellow flag conditions. But don't let the calmness fool you. A penalty, Dave, would be even more costly under green.
So tight for the driver of the 3 car, trying to get that car freed up as the night moves along here at Darlington. And the one of Ross Chastain on pit lane as well. This driver does have a loose race car, the one on top. Chastain said it's been the same loose this entire run, Kim.
45 of Tyler Reddick on the bottom said it's just a little too tight, not extreme, but wanted to be freed up. They did make an air pressure adjustment. You see his teammate of the 23, Bubba Wallace, kind of the opposite. He said, I need more stability. It's starting to act like it did in practice. Just need it tightened up, Parker.
And race leader Chase Briscoe's now hit pit road. The team asked him if he may possibly had his radiator fan or anything else on inside that car as they deal with this voltage issue in real time right now and assessing what's happening in that race car. His only report handling wise was it's still a little bit loose, but since for the last few laps all they have talked about is the issues with electricity, Marty.
Boy, Parker, much more in the game for Joey Logano. He said the car needs to be tightened up just a little bit, making some progress towards that top 10. And you got to wonder if the conditions changing has really played into the 22's hand. They're going to make some adjustments here as he comes to pit road. Right behind him, Shane Van Gisbergen coming to pit road as well. He's hit the wall pretty hard about 5 laps ago. And at the very front of pit road, Denny Hamlin said, quote, I'm dead in the water. Just could not move once he lost that track position.
Far more effective stop from the 11 team. So too the 45, the 23, and the 19. All good, smooth stops with 41 laps to go in stage 2.
I was wondering if the 45 and the 19 were going to swap positions because the 45 came early, but I'll have to give this 19 crew credit. Really good work on and off pit road. Even running longer, he's able to maintain the lead. But I will tell you, Parker is continuing to update us on the voltage issue to the 19. There is 177 to go. That can be a lot of racing. If the alternator has failed on this 19, then I don't see a battery making the rest of this race on its own without any sort of charging. Even if you shut everything else off, not only is that going to hurt the performance of the driver of the car, at some point you have to be concerned that you just won't make it to the finish.
The only good thing for Briscoe is this is an unnormal cool night. It is not normally this cool. It's always so hot here. We've had cool temperatures here at Darlington, and that is an advantage with all of those cooling devices turned off.
Well, the race started at 80 degrees. It's down to 73 degrees now here in Darlington. Christopher Bell decides it's time to head for pit road. And so too Austin Cindric. Kim standing by.
Yeah, Austin Cindric is reporting it still feels a little bit disconnected on that 2-car, loose overall, especially since the start of the run. They will make a slight adjustment on that Ford, Marty.
Kim, Steve mentioned it. They would love to make some repairs to Christopher Bell's car, but they just cannot do it because they're pitting under green here, so they cannot fix that damaged splitter. They would love to have had a caution there. They're not going to get it. In fact, Adam Stevens just told the crew, regular stop, regular stop. So no fixes here to the 20-car green flag stop. Wrapping up here, but again, that splitter damage still going to be there for Bell.
Yeah, you just see the damage they're really wanting to work on. And the 9 of Chase Elliott stays on the racetrack. Currently has about 21 seconds over Briscoe, who was the last car to pit, 37 to go. He's definitely not going to be able to hold Briscoe off, but you just have to ask yourself, is Elliott trying to just run long, or are they going to run the entire stage? 37. Okay, this time. That makes more sense. They were hoping to get a little bit of a lucky yellow. They have a bunch of cars trapped a lap down, including this guy, Kyle Busch, driving by him right now in the new tires. Let's take a look at this 9 car. Jeff, one of the hardest pit roads to enter. Take us through how he needs to do it.
You got to enter really slow, lift earlier than you would on a normal lap. Very low grip here. Lots of debris on the apron of the racetrack. Make sure you get turned. Pit road speed starts right there.
He was 10th before the pit cycle. He's definitely going to lose time by running long here, but he will have fresh tires at the end of this run. If it goes green, it may pay off. A lot of trouble on pit road, Parker. Let's see how this Napa number 9 team does it.
Right, Steve, we'll see if they can make up some of that time on the back end by going longer here. Chase through that run was trying some different things down in 3 and 4. He told the team just trying to find more performance in terms of changes. He said, I'm not sure I really want much more, and then came on and said maybe a little bit more turn for that 9 car as they're away here. We'll see where he cycles out.
And 9.3 is a great stop.
Been a much better second stage than the opening stage for the 9 crew at Hendrick Motorsports, but it's still Chase Briscoe who's dominating this Southern 500. Hope you're having a great Labor Day weekend. Well, this Labor Day weekend tradition continues with the Southern 500 here on USA. Chase Briscoe leads by just under 2 seconds, 29 laps to go. And fellas, he's one of the playoff drivers who hasn't had any issues on pit road.
Well, it's been wild. Starting on the very first lap, Josh Berry back of the car, bottoms out, loses control, big impact.
48 of Alex Bowman on pit road. The air gun gets unplugged from the pit box.
William Byron had to get told to come back. Meanwhile, Cody Ware and the Parts Plus Ford has issues. Cody made heavy contact with the wall yesterday in qualifying, and unfortunately, he has suffered this here tonight and cannot get going.
That saved SVG. He was close to getting a lap down. He wanted to see and needed this caution.
And Christopher Bell is going to be so happy to see the field slow to a cautious pace so they can come in and work on that splitter, see if they can find some more speed, because that 20 car, Jeff, is definitely off the pace of what we saw earlier.
So Cody
Get out of the
Ware,
car. Someone tell him we need a tow back.
He's just telling him needs a tow.
Yeah, buddy, you can yell, but you're in trouble, because if you need assistance, you got to go to the DVP location.
Wow.
Oh, boy. Good Lord.
Ryan Preece makes contact right there.
Too bad for the 51. So what I was saying, because the 51 has to be assisted back, he'll have to be put to the garage. Now, not out of the race. They can repair the car.
There's the view for Kyle Busch. Was able to squeeze through the Morgan on board.
The year that Kyle Busch has had, he was pretty sure he was going to slide right up in front of him.
This is pretty interesting. 26 cars on the lead lap. They have run, you know, 15-ish laps on the tires. I mean, new tires are better, way faster. 27 laps to go in this stage. I think new tires are the answer for sure, unless you need to do something crazy, hope you get a bunch of yellows, you don't run out of green, maybe 7 set of tires, right, Jeff? I mean, there's some random ideas that may do something different.
Alex Bowman all the way back in 32nd, 2 laps down. He has not been able to get away from that 2-lap down. Maybe this will give him an opportunity to get one of those laps back.
Great point. If the car's in front of him pit, he can stay out and get the wave around and hope that he stays on the lead. I can't believe it's not a full moon from what I've seen. Half a moon.
The free pass is going to go to Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Shane Van Gisbergen, to your point, Jeff, was able to do enough to stay on the lead lap. And we have at the moment 26 laps to go in the second stage. A little bit of everything so far tonight, and a blend of playoff drivers, non-playoff drivers in the top 10. They've mixed it up quite a bit. There's been some good racing. There's been some awkward moments on pit road. The race got off to an inauspicious start with Josh Berry spinning off turn 2. That caused a chaotic start to that, but Tyler Reddick is going to be a story. If Reddick can go on and win, or at least stay where he is and score significant points in this opening race of the playoffs, that's going to be massive for Reddick, considering he almost wrecked in the opening lap of this race.
Well, let's not forget Briscoe having battery issues or alternator issues. We'll see if they do any other sort of repairs on this pit stop. Busy pit road, though.
Team radio to Kyle Larson was copy, Kyle, copy, copy. They finally got through to each other, so Larson will get some adjustments here along with tires and fuel. Ross Chastain said to his team, you got it the rear back in the track. They've done it. Kim.
Tyler Reddick, bottom left, still needs to be freed up. No big swings, though, just incrementally trying to get the balance a little bit better with air pressure, Parker.
And for the leader, Chase Briscoe, he talked about those voltage issues. He updated the team. They cycled the motor. They tried cycling the alternator. Nothing's helping it. It's 12-8 on the voltage, Marty.
Parker, Steve mentioned at the caution that Christopher Bell and Adam Stevens needed. Chris Sherwood, the car chief, is going to go over and make all of the repairs. They've had some time to think about what they want to do here, and Adam Stevens told Christopher Bell it's going to be at least 2 stops. So Wesley Lape, one of the lead mechanics, is behind the wall handing Sherwood all the tools that they've prefabricated, or all the patches they prefabricated to put on there. But Sherwood, against the clock, will make these changes and put on the tape right there. Can they get it fixed, Steve, and how effective can these repairs be to that splitter for the 20 team?
Well, you can really only use tape. You can't really add any metal material or a new splitter part or piece. So you see them cleaning it off with some brake clean, and they're really just trying to maintain that front radius, the shape of that splitter. That's really the key for that airflow.
Pit lane, it's been an area of contention tonight, and maybe the race will be won by being the cleanest on pit road. Still under caution here in Darlington, 23 laps to go. Christopher Bell back on pit road. While we're under caution, continuing repairs on the splitter to try and get that more manageable, the 48.
Yeah, he stayed on the racetrack. That put him behind the pace car. The leader was behind him, so he gets to go around the pace car. Now he's only 1 lap down, Parker.
Right, let's talk more about the issue for Chase Briscoe. The voltage has been going up and down, so they've turned off his cool suit, his AC, and the team said if it stays at 12.8, that's okay, but they have backup batteries down here. They went and got 2 of these just in case if that alternator truly is failing, they can replace this to keep that car in the game. They told them possibly you could turn your fan on, but not your AC, and see how it goes.
That's what a battery looks like in this vehicle right here. It kind of bolts in the right side. Pretty easy to get to, but not something you want to change during the race.
Chase Elliott had a 16-second pit stop, was running 12th, now back to 24th.
All right, ready to go. We're racing to the end of stage 2. 22 laps to go when they cross the line. That was a cleaner restart from Chase Briscoe. He's being pushed by Eric Jones. Reddick is down on that low line in the blue, black and white car. These 2 guys have been going at it earlier in the race. Reddick's got that inside line, but Briscoe is relentless up high. Here comes Larson, 4th car back. And AJ Allmendinger in the mix. Look at Eric Jones! 3 wide down into turn 3. The 2-time Southern 500 winner. He wants to make it a 3-time win. And they leave him behind, and Blaney's around.
Oh.
Straight, get off the brake, get off the brake.
A little bit of contact.
Let's roll, you're fine. Right side tires are up, I can't fail. Right front's down, right front's down.
The concerned look on Jonathan Hassler.
Was running 13th. We saw Alex Bowman stay on the racetrack, gained a lap. That caution worked exactly the way he needed it to.
Let's have a look at what happened to the series' most recent winner.
Kind of 3 wide, or looking 3 wide. 8 below, 54 above. Oh, the 8 gets super loose. 12 kinds of tries to avoid, and the 3 gets in the back of him. Kind of a chain reaction. It starts with the 8 of Kyle Busch getting loose, saving his car, but his checkup in speed gets the 12 checked up. The 3's down here, and he just gets into the back of the 12.
Victim of circumstance.
Absolutely. This is pretty impressive. I don't know if it's luck or great driving, but right there, he gets off the brake. I'm going to call that driving. He gets off the brake, which gets the car to swing back. If his tires are locked down, I think he hits the inside wall, Jeff.
Yeah, just a little bit of contact with the back of the car, but nothing that's going to hurt them, I don't think. Right there. Just kind of kissed it a little bit. He was as close as he could possibly be to the car in front of him. And watch this right here.
Still out there. Still there, 22. Still there, 2x2 in your mirror. Still out there.
They just just did not get slowed down.
He was the meat in an RCR sandwich, and unfortunately didn't work out for the Daytona winner last weekend, who just had a mind-blowing final 2 laps to win the Coke Zero Sugar 400. Playoffs haven't started the way that Ryan Blaney would have liked. An eventful opening lap on the restart here in stage 2. But at the same time, not a bad escape. Trimble knows that in the industries we all depend on, just like on the track, every turn matters. If you want to turn deadlines into finish lines, then turn to Trimble technology, confidence at every turn. Learn more at trimble.com. And there is the Trimble Ford from RFK Racing and Ryan Preece. Still under caution because of the Ryan Blaney, Kyle Busch, Austin Dillon incident. Here's Austin's view.
Yeah, right along with Austin. He just simply doesn't get slowed down enough. Gets in the back of the 12 car, sends him around. Now a really good battle. Alex Bowman, we've been covering him. It's been a struggle so far tonight. He and Ty Dillon both came down pit road, both have new tires on. They're both racing to be the first car lap down, only 17 laps to go in this stage. If Alex Bowman can win this race against the 10 car, he would have made up 2 laps in the last, 15 minutes, could completely change the complexion of their race and their playoffs.
Significant turnaround. 2 guys who have been up against it today. There's the 21 of Josh Berry, who spun on the opening lap, caused that first caution. But the Wood Brothers crew, the 21 team not giving up, back out there and fighting on, and we're going to fight and race our way to the end of stage 2. 16 laps to go from here. Great restart. Chase Briscoe. Let's watch Reddick and watch Jones. You saw that green and white Toyota on the inside. Top box, how racy it was on the previous restart. How about Kyle Larson? There is the HendrickCars.com Chevy, the blue and white machine, as Reddick and Briscoe go side by side. Pick the race you want to watch. Up front for the win of stage 2, or to try and get back on the lead lap. Bottom box.
We talk about it every week, how the battle in the back of the pack is wild. Well, now you're going to get to see it. 48-10 racing. Oh, 48 gets tight.
It is traffic jam material there. Chris Buescher got sideways off that turn with his fight up against Bubba Wallace and William Byron and Ryan Preece. That's in the top 10 and just outside the top 10.
Early in the race, the top 10, top 15 was almost all playoff drivers. That has changed now. A lot of drivers that are not in the playoffs in the front.
Side by side between Bowman and Dillon for the free pass on the bottom of the screen. Up top, playoff drivers battling. Denny Hamlin back in the picture next to Joey Logano. Those guys just outside the top 10. Ty Dillon's going to cross the 48 over.
The race in those 2 cars, it is like the race for the win. It is so intense.
Oh, the 48 gasses it up next to the 34. They're trying to do all of this back in the mess of dirty air. They're the only 2 cars 1 lap down. The 48's trying to get the car between them. This is going to take the pressure off. What a lap for the 48. That move right there is going to be a huge difference.
This is intense here. They're going to be delighted to see the end of the second stage because it is full on, and Austin Dillon.
He got loose in the center of the corner, and I'm not so sure the 2, Cindric didn't get into him after he got loose.
Let's have a look at what happened to the 3.
He's down on the flat as most run. He kind of comes back up the banking. Let's see what happens first.
I think he got loose because the 2 hit him.
Yeah, I couldn't tell if he had breathed it, but either way, I think the 2 got into the back of him, which, hey, we're getting to that point. Brad Keselowski's had an eventful night. Currently 23rd. Starting to settle down a little bit. Riley Herbst right there behind the 88. Remember, he was in that battle earlier for the free pass the first time. Here's Chris Buescher kind of showing up on the scene. 10th place between him and Byron.
Well, if he can push William Byron out of the top 10, and that'd make 5 of the top 10 non-playoff drivers, with Eric Jones being the lead one in 3rd, AJ Allmendinger in 5th, John Hunter Nemechek in 8th, Ryan Preece in 9th. So some good showings by non-playoff drivers. And that's a factor. That's a factor. That's taking points away from these guys. If a non-playoff driver wins, that's a headache for those other guys who want to get immediately locked in.
Well, and the crazy things, if you're a Josh Berry fan, you've mentioned a couple times he was in that first accident. He's on the racetrack. He's 124 laps down. Why that matters is we have 146 to go. Once we get to, 124 to go, then Berry can't pass anyone. So the repairs will be for nothing.
9 to go. Stage 2. Let's ride with Ryan Preece. That's Nemechek up ahead.
Back in 29th place, 28th, Blaney had that spin, and although we didn't see much damage, he rode around the racetrack a long time on flat tires, and you wonder if he did some damage to the front splitter or the rear diffuser, and has hurt the downforce on the car, Marty.
That's exactly what Ryan Blaney was worried about as he was riding around under caution. Originally, Jonathan Hassler told him, hey, let's stay out until we can get caught up with everyone. And then Blaney said, I cannot wait any longer. We're absolutely killing the front splitter here. And Blaney has gone backwards since that restart, Jeff. Now in 30th for Ryan Blaney.
30th for Blaney, 28th for Bell. Both cars with a little damage underneath.
The concern at the 12 camp, and crew chief Jonathan Hassler on camera. 5.5 laps to go in stage 2. Chase Briscoe won the opening stage. It has been a great night for the Blacks Tires Chevrolet from Corlig Racing and AJ Armendinger. He told me yesterday, look, the truth is, Kim, we're not in the playoffs. So what can we do from here? We've just got to make these 10 races count to show everybody how much this team has improved and what we're capable of.
That's right, Lee. And earlier in the race, you actually talked about how AJ kind of turned the page on his outlook here at Darlington, had found some things he liked. And so when I asked him kind of what his approach was, he said, look, this year I've had trouble not burning up the rear tires. I quite haven't figured it out yet. I'm trying to get better at it. So what he did coming into this race, he studied all of Kyle Larson's in-car camera for every single race, or every single lap of last year's race. Remember, Kyle Larson had the dominant car, led for over 300 laps. So that was the work he put into this weekend, right now running in the 5th position.
We get to study it right out the windshield now. You can see exactly what Larson's doing. And the good news is that Larson's getting a little bigger in the windshield. He's running them down half a 10th lap.
Riding on board the HendrickCars.com 5. And to be fair to this group, this has been a nice, quiet, productive run. Exactly what Larson and his crew need.
Yeah, on the other side, his teammate, the 48 of Bowman, has been anything but calm, but productive is working. 33rd position, but ahead of Dillon. He is in position for the free pass here with 2 more laps to go on the stage.
Jeff, I come back to what Chase Briscoe told us earlier this week. We're yet to realize the potential. Well, they sure look like it tonight.
Yeah, and what a great time, right? Start of the playoffs. But it's a lot of racing left to go, and everybody knows it. You know, this race, it is grueling. You can be having a great night, everything going the way you want it to go, and it can change quickly.
1 more lap to go in stage 2, presented by Credit One Bank. Little pensive look on the face of crew chief James Small, who really has enjoyed blending with this young guy, with Chase Briscoe. After working with the veteran, the legend, Martin Truex, he's taken over with this young guy. And they're learning each other and each other's ways and what works for them both. Well, so far, so good here in Darlington, because Chase Briscoe wins stage 2 to couple it with winning the first. So he's dominating the night with 182 laps led. Really good run from Reddick and Jones. Larson and Armending in the top 5, and productive work from the 48 team.
Well, they did exactly what they needed to do in the last 30 laps or so. This team, with great pit strategy, has gotten 2 laps back. So they're going to restart in 33rd place, but they're back on the lead lap. Now it's a new race for them.
If you're watching from Indiana, this is your man, Chase Briscoe from Mitchell, Indiana. And he has led virtually the entire way. Here's the menu for next weekend when we head to Worldwide Technology Raceway in St. Louis. Xfinity Series action with practice and qualifying on the CW app, the race on CW. We'll have practice and qualifying on True TV, and we'll see you here on USA for the race on Sunday at 3 p.m. Eastern. So we're in the stage break as we welcome you back to the track 2 Tough to Tame. Let's talk stuff on pit road. Here's Dave Burns.
Kyle Larson pits from 4th. Radio problems persist, but they are able to communicate. He'll get 4, and they'll free the car up here. Ross Chastain, his car is too tight. Too loose at the start, and then tight the rest of the run, Kim.
Well, Dave, Tyler Reddick said, I don't know if pushing harder made it free, but now it is free. They will undo the last air pressure change, Parker.
And for race leader Chase Briscoe, he's been perfect in the stages, winning both of those, and his race car is seeming a little more perfect as well. It seems like the voltage issue has calmed down and holding steady at 13 volts. They told me to make a small adjustment to help him on the long run, and he wins the race off pit road.
We talk about the intensity of the race off pit road. Here's a great example of that. Kyle Larson, Ross Chastain, almost coming together. Racing from the afternoon into the night here at the Cookout Southern 500 at Darlington. It has been quite the event so far. Let's hear the thoughts of Hall of Famer Dale Jarrett with our Marty Snyder.
Yeah, we talked about stage 1 being so calm after that lap 1 wreck. Stage 2, not that way. Let's check out the playoff driver issues from the day. And it did start lap 1, DJ.
It literally did. Josh Berry here, his car was bottoming out, got into Tyler Reddick. How this wasn't a bigger wreck, I don't know. But unfortunately, put the 21 out. Then Alex Bowman, his crew, so many things right here, Marty, that just put them way behind. They've been playing catch up, but they're back on the lead lap now.
Same for his teammate William Byron. They had to push him back in the stall to put a tire on. So many pit crew issues today, including Denny Hamlin.
Yeah, Marty, we talk about every year as we start the playoffs, the difference that it will make whoever can go through these races without any problem. Pit road has been a disaster for most teams. Here we see Christopher Bell getting into the 77 car.
Yeah, damage for Bell there. Blaney gets blocked into his stall. Then Bubba Wallace has an issue on pit road. This one fairly clean, though. They just have to make sure the right rear is tight. But then Blaney, because of that, back in traffic right there, and then he gets into Kyle Busch.
Yeah, these are the things that all of these issues bring on. It puts you in places that you don't want to be in, and it allows things like this to happen.
I thought it would be easier to show the playoff drivers who have not had problems tonight, and that tallies up to 5. That's it. That's it, DJ.
Yeah. We're talking 11 other drivers have had issues throughout this, and we've got a lot of racing to go. I'm just interested to see how this happens. The guy that's led the entire night, they have some issues too with the voltage. With their batteries, they may have to replace that. So let's see this. I'm just amazed Tyler Reddick is still up here after what could have been the end on the very first lap.
And Lee, there's still 131 to go. This is why the Southern 500 is so tough to win.
Well, great point, and with everything that's transpired so far and the way that this race concluded last year, I cannot wait for these 131 laps to come. Let's have a look at the points earned tonight, and it has been so productive for Chase Briscoe.
Tyler Reddick, Chastain, Larson, as DJ was just talking about, there's been so many troubles tonight. Everybody talks about it's got to be clean. Just have a clean first round. If we do, it'll be easy to advance. Well, easier said than done.
Hasn't been the easiest or most straightforward night for the defending series champion, Joey Logano, but he's just hanging in there, chipping away at it. He's brought himself from the low 20s into just outside the top 10. Crowd are pumped. Great crowd here at Darlington. Stage 3, are you ready? Let's go. Good start, Tyler Reddick. Got the edge on Briscoe, and he's got his teammate going with him on the inside as well. Here comes Bubba Wallace.
Yeah, that restart was chaotic. Allmendinger into the back of Briscoe, and I think that's why Reddick got the lead here.
Chastain gets on the inside of Allmendinger. John Hunter Nemechek's in the mix. Here comes Logano.
Watch this restart. Watch the 16 car behind the 19. Starts forward momentum. Boom, right there. The 5 into the back of the 16. That messed up all the rhythm. The 19 couldn't get going.
Jones and Nemechek, the teammates from Legacy Motor Club. What a run they are having tonight. And here's Kyle Busch getting swamped by Chris Buescher and Joey Logano. Hamlin in the mix, and so too Carson Hocevar sitting 14th.
That's 77.
Briscoe decides to switch it up and goes the low line on Reddick.
Oh, tight right there. Reddick's not giving the spot up.
Oh my goodness.
That was close. And back on the scene is Bubba Wallace. The teammates scrapping over that second place. Let's have a look how close this was with Reddick.
Whoa. Reddick's car hit that bump, and it looked like it jumped up in the air. Watch this. Boom, right there. That's some hard racing.
Hey, compared to lap 1, that was nothing, right? He was broadside on lap 1. He's got it. Tyler's got it covered. I just love the turnaround in maybe approach or attitude or whatever, because at the end of Daytona last weekend, he almost looked like he wasn't ready to go into the playoffs. Because it was a torturous night, both for Alex Bowman and for Tyler, because they were threading the needle so close of whether they were going to make it or they weren't. But boy, he has gone home, he has reset, and he's come out swinging.
They have. All of 23-11. Bubba Wallace has run really well tonight. Reddick's run well tonight. Remember, a few months ago, Denny Hamlin said, hey, we have enough talent on these teams. We should be winning races. Put the pressure on everybody. So, guys, we got to step it up. And his drivers have done that. Put both cars in the playoffs. Bubba Wallace got that big win a few weeks ago to lock him in. Reddick, a very steady regular season. Didn't get any wins, but very steady. Pointed himself in. Here they are with a chance to win championship.
Jeff, you said that this guy here, Bubba Wallace, got that big win, the Brickyard 400. He said getting that win helped him, and there's the boss, there's MJ. Michael Jordan in the house. He said winning the Brickyard 400 helped me change just my outlook, my attitude big time. He said, I look at things with more confidence. I look at things with more composure. And, you know, I'm no longer the underdog. I belong. And I'm ready here. I'm ready to step up, stand up, and win.
That guy right there on the screen, Michael Jordan, no one in the world knows better than he that moments are when legends are created, right? He hit some huge shots. Go back in all of sports and you think about the greatest players. They're able to step up in those moments. And this is an opportunity for 23-11. Both drivers in the playoffs, this is their step-up opportunity.
And the three of us, Steve, know it. Becoming a dad changes your world, changes your life, changes your outlook. And he admitted to that as well. So this is kind of like Bubba 2.0. What's happening a little further back? Kyle Busch, the Morgan & Morgan on board. That's Ryan Preece just up ahead.
Right in front of Preece is the 5 of Larson. It's a great example of two different ways to run 3 and 4. Oh, here comes the 77. He's now got the Joey Logano.
It's about a 10-minute stretch where we couldn't keep the 77 off the screen.
Lower entry, half down. Half down, now finish it. 3/4 down.
Remember,
Number 2, pull it.
Hocevar was telling his crew chief, Luke Lambert, the car was so bad early in the race, he couldn't even drive it.
Wait, he said the worst car he's ever driven.
Well,
this is why I wouldn't listen, because he's 14th, Diff. So apparently it's not the worst one he's ever driven.
Well, it changes every week.
Congrats to the Spire 77 Chili's crew, because they made the adjustments that were necessary to get this young star of the future settled down.
That's right. Good job on top of the pit box is well more than just adjustments. Luke Lambert, you know, there's a lot of focus on this, and Luke has done a very, very nice job of getting the best out of this 77 car.
I would give credit to Tyler Green, also the spotter.
Great point.
Me and Carson have a relationship. Tyler's done a nice job of, you know, as a team.
Yeah.
All right, we got to get refocused.
He's been twice a runner-up this year. He's only 22, still learning a lot, but look at where he is. He's racing against the defending series champion, a 3-time Cup Series champion.
How about those sparks out of the back of the 22? That's just how rough that bump is. We're 12 laps into this run, and that thing still bottoms out over that bump, throwing some sparks.
Bumper, Byron by 4. Bumper, still there, Hocevar, 2 to Byron.
William Byron looming in the background. Hocevar clears Logano for the moment.
Yeah, now for Logano wants to get the 77 by without losing momentum like that. He got in the wake of the 77, the 22 got loose. And now one position might turn into 2 as now he's under attack from Byron. The same could easily happen for Cindric as well. The 22 is going to let the 24 off in there, try to get the momentum going right. The 2 is going to try to attack.
That's Darlington right there. You have to keep momentum. I am shocked at the performance of this 22 car tonight. In practice yesterday, I thought the Penske cars looked like they had great long run speed, and it just hadn't been there. He just has not had pace to run in the top 10.
9 of the 16 playoff drivers are 14th or worse.
Yeah. Bell's made some improvements to his car speed-wise. Blaney just whatever that spin and flat tire has done, and then the 48 right behind Blaney just does not, still just doesn't have it.
252 laps run, 200 laps led by this man here. Working our way deeper into stage 3, 111 laps to go. And let's show you what happened just a moment ago. Kyle Larson, Ryan Preece.
Yeah, Preece had been inching his way in on the 5, and the 5 just trying to hustle it. Loses the back of the race car. Luckily, no real big impact. Look at this. Woo.
Still there.
Who's in the middle? You just cannot deal with it here. Several racetracks. Dover, Darlington. You don't have rear grip, you are in trouble. The pace is so high here. You have to be able to lean on those rear tires.
This is going to sound a little strange to say that Larson needs a settler, like a stable night, when he came in as the #1 seed, right? But just the way that the second half of the season has gone so far, there's been too much. There's things that have happened outside of their control, right? But it has been un-5-like. So I think just a nice stable night tonight, just a confidence builder and a settler heading into the next race in this round of 16.
Well, we did talk about how close the playoff field is, Jeff, but coming in at plus 26, Larson can have just a stable night. All right, that's the beauty. You take the pressure off of the first round by the little bit of a head start you have coming in.
But I think this team expects to have winning pace. That's been what this team has been about, is speed, just raw speed. But we haven't seen, since, the second half of the year, they just haven't looked like themselves.
Bass Pro Shops number 19. Have a look at this for some interesting numbers to chew on. The most laps led at Darlington. And Chase Briscoe at 209 laps tonight. But you lead all those laps, but they haven't won. That's the interesting point about that. I'm not trying to cast that on the 19, but just to say that you can dominate this race and not come away with the victory.
In the last 40 Southern 500s, only once has a driver led over 200 laps and won. Kevin Harvick, 2014. So
he had to survive a couple green white checkers to get it done that night.
Do you remember how many laps you led when you won yours?
I know one. That's the only one that mattered. But you know, but I led so many times here and had dominant race cars and didn't win. And you know, then I won 2 races here in the same year, and went for, you know, several years. We came here and just had, you know, for the most part, a top 3 car every single time, and we just could not find a way to win. We would mess it up. I would mess it up. It's just this race is just one of the most challenging races, even with the fastest race car, to get it finished.
Well, that gap right there, that's what 2 seconds looks like between Chase Briscoe and Tyler Reddick. But let's talk more than just those two. Let's go through the field, brought to you by Homes.com, and we kick it off with Parker Kligerman. Away you go, mate.
Right, guys, and you mentioned all the laps he's led. Well, he's also banked 20 points virtue of 2 stage wins and being absolutely perfect for this race team in the stages. And Chase gave us a great idea of the gravity of driving for Joe Gibbs Racing his first season with them this year. He said, you know, when I was at Stewart-Haas Racing, making the playoffs was cool, but we weren't sure how far we'd go in the playoffs. But he said, when I came to Joe Gibbs Racing, I learned pretty quickly that unless we make the round of 8, this year is a failure. Well, he's kicked off the playoffs perfectly so far, Kim.
Well, Parker, Tyler Reddick has 3 top 3 finishes at Darlington in the next-gen car. Most of any driver looking to continue that tonight. They've battled up front all night long, despite a couple hiccups here and there. The word reset has been thrown around a lot this week in terms of describing how they're approaching the playoffs relative to the regular season. I think we're seeing shades of that tonight, Dave.
I asked crew chief Phil Surgeon why the 1 team in Ross Chastain could capitalize at Darlington. He said, you know, Ross used to drive for one of the most humble Xfinity teams where you had to save your equipment and you had to be kind to your tires. That pays dividends when you come to a place like Darlington. He's showing it again tonight, running in the 3rd position, Kim.
Bubba Wallace dropping a couple of spots. Not sure if that rear grip's just going away, but I talked to crew chief Charles Denike about what their goal was. He said a base hit. He said you can usually bank on 4 playoff teams having big trouble in this race. We don't want to be one of them. And while they've had a slow pit stop here and there relative to other playoff drivers, they have not had anything disastrous happen. Their goal starting to come into focus, Dave.
This week, Kyle Larson talked about a season when it's been up and down and, quote, prepared us for most anything. I asked crew chief Cliff Daniels if that was true this morning. He said, absolutely agree. True in competition and true in life. 2025, we had to reframe our minds to embrace some of our challenges. They've had a couple more tonight, Marty. The top seed has gained 12 stage points, though, and that helps.
Boy, Dave, not the night that the 5-time Darlington winner Denny Hamlin thought he would have. His pit crew came into the night ranked 8th over the season. That stage 2 stop, he went back to 28th after that long stop, and it's been a slog to get back through the field. But right now, in 12th, it's happy with a balance in 3 and 4. A little too tight in 1 and 2, Dave.
William Byron has been up front. He's gone to the back. He's been to the front again. He went to the back recently with a couple of more problems on pit lane. Now he's working his way back forward. The balance hasn't been bad. He didn't like one run in particular, so they went back to a long run setup they had earlier in the day. That seems to be paying off, Kim.
Austin Cindric running in the 15th position. Relatively clean day. They had good track position early, earned a few stage points in the initial stage, then fallen back some. Just not as good on the long run as it was initially. Missed out on stage points in stage 2, which was one of their goals. They want to finish top 10, still have a couple of positions to get to that place. The team, though, reminding him of the big picture and keeping him up to speed on some of the other issues playoff drivers have had here tonight, Marty.
When we talk about how tough the Southern 500 is, it's been a grinded out night for Joey Logano and Paul Wolf. The struggle all evening long has been turn 2, and he's been way too tight in turn 2. But on this run, he said, I finally have the turn I need right here in turn 2, but now it's way too free. I'm in a 4-wheel slide, Parker.
Well, Marty, for Chase Elliott, it's been a tough night as well. They've just been mired between 13th and 20th throughout this race, currently running 21st right now. And, you know, they came in this race with the best average finish of any team in the NASCAR Cup Series at 11.96, but they both knew, he and Alan Gustafson, that that would not cut it in the playoffs. They had to be prepared to go for home runs, and they just not brought home run speed here, Marty.
Parker, after that spin a little while ago, Ryan Blaney did too much damage to the right front of the splitter. That's the biggest concern. He said, I don't know what to tell you to do to Jonathan Hassler, but it is absolutely plowing and it's been no better. Same story for Christopher Bell with damage on the splitter as well. He said the car feels better, but I can't tell you if the tight condition that I'm experiencing is because of traffic, which he has been often in tonight, or it's because of the damage we have on the splitter. And for SVG, a moment ago, Stephen Doran said, listen, I know it's been a frustrating night. We do not have the handling right with the race car, but so many playoff teams have had trouble. Stick with me. Still just under 100 laps to go, Dave.
Austin Dillon runs 27th, has not been able to capitalize on that great qualifying run he had into the top 10. Just recently, he came on the radio, told the team the car is well balanced now. It's decent, but is it too late? Back now to the 27th position. Kim?
Alex Bowman running in the 29th position. That's where he started, so it may not seem like a rebound, but that is exactly what it is for this team. Remember, they had that air gun hose issue early. At one point, found themselves 2 laps down. Got to take the wave around, fought, and won hard for the lucky dog against Ty Dillon. Resilience is an important part of the playoffs, and we've seen it here tonight from Alex Bowman and this 48 team, Parker.
And Kim, for Josh Berry and the Wood Brothers, they came into this playoff with so much optimism, qualifying third on Saturday, but it all went wrong on lap 1, turn 2. The car bottomed out. They crashed. They went behind the wall. They're 126 laps down, but they repaired that car so well that recently Josh Berry actually set the fastest lap of the race. If that holds, that's an extra point, Marty.
And Parker, here come the pit stops. 94 to go here in the Southern 500. These teams pitting now, planning to split stage 3 into 2 stops. And there are a few teams talking about doing stage 3 in 1 stop. We'll see if they actually pull that off. You can also see Ryan Blaney and Joey Logano on pit road. Again, they have not been able to hit the handling right for the 22 all evening long, Dave.
Tight and no grip for Kyle Larson on the lower right there. Crew finishing up the 4-tire stop with a chassis adjustment.
Parker.
You see Chase Briscoe on pit road there from the lead. He did not have much report on the race cars. They dialed that race car in well for him. The one thing the team has told him in green flag stops, they'd like him to get out of pit road faster. They told and compared him to some other cars and said he needed more arc and more throttle on exit, Kim.
Tyler Reddick, bottom of your screen, finishing up that stop. Still wants to be tighter, just too free on that last run.
19, will he leave in front of the 45? He will. So clean in and off. Now it's just a little bit of nerves until we get the other cars to come to pit road, because there'll be a lap down. Right around the grass, that shortest way around the flat.
And Chase Briscoe re-enters with 92 laps to go in the Cookout Southern 500. What a night it's been. 222 laps led after 4 seasons with Stuart Haas Racing. They closed their operations and it morphed into Haas Factory with just the one current Cole Custer, and this is his first season with Joe Gibbs Racing and Toyota Power, paired with James Small. Won at Pocono earlier this year and has dominated this Southern 500. Here's Kyle Busch.
And Kyle Busch, remember, part of that first incident with Josh Berry, has had a nice rebound since then, just reporting no grip. Also on restarts, feels like he gets swarmed by other cars. 4 fresh Goodyear tires, air pressure, Sunoco fuel.
Ross Chastain hit cycled through to the lead. He'll now bring that Chevrolet to pit road. He said loose on throttle and entry, little tight center, but not as bad as the loose. Crew chiefs always say, tell me what is the worst thing, let me fix that first. They'll change 4 tires here, get him full of fuel. Waiting and gone.
Yeah, just a little hiccup on that left rear. Just amazing how quickly they service the car. I really believe the one front tire changer hit that wheel nut. I'm not sure the car had completely stopped yet. It was like just sliding to a halt. 11 of Denny Hamlin. Remember that slow pit stop earlier? They're trying to look for options, plans. This 11, he has won this race both ways. He's won it by coming early and having fresh tires, and he's also won it by running long. So he can do both, but you see the challenge of being out there on old tires is, can you continue to run quality laps while all these other cars continue to overtake you?
Lucy was right there, getting in the corner, had a big slide. You have to be careful when you're on old tires.
We are pitting this time.
To ignore all the drivers around you. They're pitting this time. You tend to overdrive the race car because everybody around you can drive harder because they have new tires.
Well, I hit this time. We've seen Denny Hamlin in control of this race in the past. This pit road, not in control of it now while he is leading.
And out the window, letting the guys behind him know he's coming down pit road.
Look to your left, top box. Look to your left how blind it is. Can't see, and then you can see. It's amazing. It looks so wide and it looks so easy from different camera angles, but it is so challenging for these guys.
Let's remember, Denny Hamlin has been complaining about his clutch. We'll see if that affects getting into the box or keeping the car running, and hopefully doesn't stall it leaving for the 11 team, Marty.
Boy, Steve, thanks to Toyota for that onboard look at Denny Hamlin coming to pit road and how busy he was. That was downshifting, also a brake bias adjustment to make sure he gets into his stall clean. Now can the 11 crew deliver a clean stop? Denny saying the car a little bit too tight through 1 and 2, but that makes him occasionally free off 1 and 2 as well, Parker.
And Chase Elliott on pit road as well. He was actually having fuel pressure issues during this last run. They flipped the switch, and that fixed it for him. He's consistently been hurting the rear tires too much on the long run.
Fuel pressure is a bit surprising. Flipping the switch probably means they went from running 1 fuel pump in the actual fuel cell to 2. Maybe they have an issue there. Shouldn't be an issue though. You don't run low on fuel here at Darlington very much, so should be all right. But that gives Briscoe back the lead, 1.5 seconds over Reddick. Van Bisbergen yet to pit, basically right there in third.
It's the Toyota pairing up front. 2 different teams, but they have shared these 2 spots for so long as we race with 86 to go. Time to check out the Xfinity fastest laps of this race, and the fastest goes to Josh Berry. So the race may have started in an inauspicious way, but he has found the ultimate pace out there tonight ahead of the guy who has dominated this race, Chase Briscoe. 80 to go, 80 laps to go in the Cookout Southern 500 here in Darlington. So, fellas, why don't we take time for the ones to watch, presented by Credit One Bank. Who we're looking at?
Well, I'll go Tyler Reddick. Remember that lap 1 save? That was an epic save. Could have been the difference between advancing from this round to the next. 2 runner-up finishes here. Looking for his first win of 2025. Why not tonight?
Why not tonight for the 43, Eric Jones, driver at Legacy Motor Club. 315 starts, 3 wins, 2 of which were Southern 500. Something just fits like Cinderella's slipper for Eric Jones here at Darlington. Could he do it again tonight?
How about the man in the U.S. Air Force, Toyota Camry, Bubba Wallace, 3rd car in that shot. He said earlier this week, I've had 7 DNFs this year. If you give me those back, can you imagine where I'd be in the playoff structure? And he said, but anyway, we're in. We got the big win, and we know how good we can be. He currently runs 5th. It's been a terrific night, both for the driver of the 23 and his teammate in the 45, Tyler Reddick.
We're closing into those moments where it's been a long race. 77 to go. One more pit stop. Oh, there it is.
Pusher in the wall.
Just a little bit of contact. That's what we were thinking. Just an issue now is that right rear toe link still in one piece. That is amazing. You just drive it down in turn 1, hoping the tires are still pointing in the right direction.
That was pretty wild.
Wow.
Right alongside Ross Chastain. He just ping-ponged off the wall. Here comes Allmendinger looking for an inside move on his old teammate. Yes, they get stuck behind Chastain, and Allmendinger just flew on by.
Yeah, Chastain just kind of put a slider on Buescher, and I don't think Buescher's happy about it.
That was for 6th place, by the way. Let's have another look at it.
Yeah, so this is what happened off turn 4.
And that was really the one sliding, but the 17 had his own issues. There was no contact. Now, there wasn't a lot of room there, but yeah, I mean, Chastain didn't hit him or push him in the wall. I mean, it leaves him a lane, not a lane plus any, but a lane.
Or 7/8 of 1.
7/8. I'll give you that. 7/8 of 1's fair.
He slides up in front of him, and Buescher lets him know, I'm not too happy about that.
And Allmendinger was the big recipient of a wide open path.
And what I was just saying is 77 to go, the length of the race, like those sort of things are kind of happening all over at times. You know, you've raced here. Some cars, surprisingly, Jeff, you and I talk about this all the time, they'll run next to each other for almost the whole race. And over time, you just become less and less patient, and then finally it boils over. And like you said, Jeff, you leave somebody 7/8 of a lane where they need an entire lane.
Yeah, I think also, you know, when we come to this race, we talked about how long it is. It's also toward the end of the year. And some teams and drivers haven't had the year that they wanted. And so then small things get on your nerves, tend to have much less patience.
Look at that speed disparity between Carson Hocevar, William Byron, Denny Hamlin, and the 88 of Shane Van Gisbergen. And Marty, tell us more about SVG.
Boy, all these fresher tires going by SVG. So they are the one playoff team who has yet to pit here in stage 3. Stephen Dorn making the call that he's going to try to do stage 3 on 1 stop. So there's a couple factors, Steve. Number 1, they've been much better on the longer run, older tires for SVG. But the second factor is they've really been no better than 25th tonight for SVG. So how might this play work out to benefit the 88, Steve?
Well, he's 16th right now. He was running 28th when the pit cycle started. He needs to run 7 more laps to get it in the middle. So 22 seconds behind. Unfortunately, he's going to be back to almost 25th, 26th before he comes to pit road. But at any point, if that Buescher ping pong mess would have turned into a yellow, that's a huge gain for the 88. So while it may not result in a better finish, Diff,
it could have.
For a lot of time, opportunity is on their side if a yellow comes out. Sometimes you just have to, you know, keep buying Powerball tickets. Just hope sometimes the numbers hit.
What was it before? $1 billion? South Carolina lottery? Woo.
Hope is the strategy.
Is there any stopping Chase Briscoe in this Southern 500? As finally Shane Van Gisbergen comes to pit road. He was hanging out there as long as he could. And now with 65 to go, SVG is on there for a fresh set of tires and some fuel. Marty Snyder's standing by.
Yeah, finally coming at lap 303. Had a little bit of trouble, had to let some traffic go when he came to pit road. When Stephen Doran said, hey, how's the handling of the car? He said, actually, on the longer run, on these older tires, considering how old our tires are, I actually think it's not too bad. Here's the other issue with going this one-stop strategy in stage 3. They are going to have to sit here and wait on fuel to make sure that they can get all the way to the end of the stage with 64 to go here in stage 3.
Top of your screen, the 9 of Chase Elliott, who ran a little long before his pit stop, working to try to unlap himself. 25th for the driver of the 9. I always had Darlington as a track. I thought the 9 ran pretty good at it. When we talked to him this week, he just did not seem excited about coming here. He just didn't seem to have a lot of answers.
We asked him point blank, what's your biggest concern about the playoffs? And his answer in about maybe a quarter of a second was Darlington. He just said he just hadn't figured it out. That surprised me too, Steve. It just feels like such a Chase Elliott type of racetrack.
Look what it's done. He's now below the cut line by 1 point. SVG above, but remember, SVG's in the middle of a pit cycle. He has a lot of points to gain. So,
and Chase told us this week, he said, you know, I've got to be better at my qualifying. We've got to be better at speed. I give myself an F for that. Well, yesterday they qualified in 21st. So they were digging from the outset.
I will tell you, if Chase ever wanted to just be a straight up consultant, he's brutally honest.
He's very honest.
How's your qualifying? F. What's your big concern about? Darlington.
Yep.
Oh, man.
Meanwhile, look at Ross Chastain, bottom box with AJ Allmendinger. They are fighting over 6th place. And Chastain has that inside line. What a night it's been for the Kaulig racer, AJ Allmendinger. Really positive evening. So too for the Legacy Motor Club duo of John Hunter Nemechek and Eric Jones. They're running 3rd and 4th. What an effort from those two.
Things are getting testy back here for 6th. You see the guys weren't giving each other any room whatsoever. And although Chase Elliott has newer tires than Briscoe, he cannot get around him.
We've told this story before, probably 2 or 3 weeks ago, but I want to go back to John Hunter Nemechek and Eric Jones. And this guy here, bottom box in the Pi Barker Toyota Camry, told me yesterday, I can't tell you how much of a difference it has made with Jimmy Johnson moving back to the United States and Jimmy's presence in our race shop more and more. This team has evolved. It continues to evolve, and everybody's believing in it more. And there's been some personnel changes, but John Hunter said, it's great. We're feeling the vibe. We feel the improvement. Morale is lifting, and it is really good. Tell us more, Parker.
Well, right, Lee, I talked to him too a couple of weeks ago, and he told me the culture improvement has been amazing at that organization. But I think it's worth reminding how he got to the position he is right now in 3rd place. You know, he qualified in 28th, and in the first stage, his crew chief, Travis Mack, decided to do something different than the majority of the field. When everyone else 2 stopped, they 1 stopped that stage and went from 28th to finishing top 10 at that stage. That has netted them all the way up to the front, and they've kept up there. The team has executed on pit road and now find themselves utilizing that speed to be in 3rd. It's been very impressive, Dave.
The 43 team did a good job finding 2-time Southern 500 winner Eric Jones the field that he wanted. I asked Ben Bayshore what that is. He goes, not too loose in, get it pointed off of turn 2, and he runs the bottom usually in 3 and 4, although not that time, and into the wall just a little bit. So we have to make sure that it's still turning down there. So far, they've done that for them. A good run tonight for Bayshore and for Eric Jones and the whole 43 team.
Watch that top box and watch for a 3rd car to come into view. Tyler Reddick is only 0.7 of a second behind race leader Chase Briscoe. Here goes Chase Elliott trying to unlap himself, but a bigger concern is that blue, black and white Toyota from 2311. AMR safety team on the scene for Derek Kraus. It was a fiery scene for the 44, which has brought out this most recent caution. Take a look to the right.
I assume this is an engine expiration, just looking at all the smoke, and then finally enough fluid gets on enough things of temperature and the fire breaks out. Good to see the driver get it stopped and get out okay. It's going to be scary from behind the wheel. Blaney was in the middle of a pit stop, or was coming down pit road, so he ended up servicing the 12 car. I believe the 12 was lapped while being on pit road, so good decision to put tires on it, because this will leave them the opportunity to take the free pass. Excuse me.
One more. Good thing to go wrong tonight.
You hear his frustration. They'll take the wave around, so he'll restart, you know, back of the field, but around 22nd, unfortunately behind the lap down cars. Chase Elliott and the 9 will get the free pass. And if you're an SVG fan, the big fear of running long, so long would, he had such a huge window where a caution would have made his entire night. Unfortunately, this is the exact opposite. He's now 2 laps down. He'll take the wave around, go to 1 lap down, but then he'll take the wave around on older tires. It's just, it was just not the caution the 88 needed right there.
It was a gamble that just didn't work out, right? So
that's right.
He was on the lead lap, you know, after working so hard in stage 1 to get there, and then all of stage 2 he was on the lead lap, and unfortunately that was a gamble that went the wrong direction.
And I don't know if it really cost him anything, because if they just pit with the leaders, where they were running around Bell and Bowman and those guys, they're all a lap down also. So really he's going to be a lap down, just a couple lap older tires than he would have been.
Well, we've seen so much trouble on pit road. It's race winning time now, only 52 laps to go. Let's see who can execute.
Pit lane's getting busy. Dave Burns is standing by. Davo.
Ross Chastain was running in 6th position. He said the rear is the best it's been all weekend. The entry is the best. Split the difference on the understeer I'm experiencing. The crew goes to work. Kim.
Talk about the 2311 cars, bottom left, Bubba Wallace. You just said I need to be able to be more aggressive on entry and exit. His teammate, top right, Tyler Reddick, said biggest balance swing we've had during that run. Took off free, then tightened up. We did a small adjustment, nothing crazy, just air pressure, Parker.
And Chase Briscoe came on the radio and gave his team a pep talk, telling them they've been the best all night. Let's keep it up here as they do get away from the box right there. And that he's just continually building loose. Not once has he felt that race car be tight, and they continue to be perfect on pit road. He wins the race off.
That's a good call, Parker, because they've been criticized at times for what's happened on pit road. That 19 team has been spot on tonight here in Darlington.
Southern 500 win. Chase Briscoe, a walk-off.
1 lap to go. Can Briscoe hang on?
My 1.5. You are white flag mid-time. Do or die here.
Kyle Busch throwing everything at Chase Briscoe he can. It's a win and you're in.
You ready for the dive bomb? Momentum up to the finish.
Chase Briscoe wins the Southern 500 and is going to the playoffs.
I was crying. Like, after the checkered, I just won the Southern 500.
Chase Briscoe, the biggest moment in his racing career.
A win for the ages at Darlington.
They were an incredible 2 weeks because at Daytona we got to see Harrison Burton win and go in. And then here a year ago, Chase Briscoe, then driving for Stuart Haas Racing, got that miraculous victory. He passed Kyle Larson with 26 to go with a really decisive and determined move down the backstretch into turn 3. Made it stick, never looked back. There was a late race caution, but he withstood the restart and a charging Kyle Busch to go on and win and go into the playoffs. That was a magical night. So with that being said, there's 49, 48 to go when we cross the line this time. And it's that man who was victorious a year ago who's going to lead this field to green. The Legacy Motor Club Toyotas are behind, and Tyler Reddick is on the inside. Here we go. Toyota Power dominated qualifying. Toyota Power has dominated this race. Look at Reddick. He's got the inside run off turn 2. Side by side. Here come the Legacy boys. 3 and 4, the teammates right alongside each other.
Briscoe unable to clear the 45 on the first time through 1 and 2. He's able to get it done here through 3 and 4. 3 wide back at the pack. Gets sorted out.
Hocevar on the inside of Denny Hamlin, the 77 and the 11. Kyle Busch in that bright yellow Morgan & Morgan car. And here's Ryan Preece with thanks to Trimble.
Let it go. Clear by 2.
First flying lap, Briscoe's already put half a second on Reddick. On board with Busch.
To the back of Denny Hamlin's car, looks nervous.
11-3 in front.
Doesn't have the rear grip he needs.
Down the banking into the aero wash. You saw the fire out the pipes. He had to chop the gas. 8 will have a big run. He'll take it to the left of the 11. That all started with that big slide through 3 and 4.
He's not done, though.
Yeah, he can't let him go this late in the race. Oh, the fire out the pipes of the 8. He had to lift.
Meanwhile, up ahead, here's Carson Hocevar having a fight with Trackhouse Racing's Ross Chastain. They're arm wrestling over 7th place.
Oh, Kyle Busch got loose in the middle of the corner. He's going to let Denny Hamlin get by him.
Hocevar down low. Chastain up high. Remember earlier, Hocevar was just saying he could not drive this car. Well, he's driving it pretty well now, and he's worked his way up into 7th place.
Chastain rolls the middle of the corner really quickly. Whoa, Chastain right against the wall. Hocevar loose on the exit.
Hamlin's looking ahead. He's not sure what he wants to do. Chastain in the 70s in the 1 and Hocevar in the 77 continue to slip and slide.
Great run off turn 2. Really difficult pass because Chastain's really good right here. Rolls the middle really well. Gets good exit speed. Hocevar has the car pinched off on the bottom of the racetrack. Not doing anything wrong, but Chastain knows it. As long as he can stay alongside him, it's going to be a hard pass because Hocevar just can't put his car on corner exit where he wants it to be. If he does, he'll be into the side of Chastain.
Blaney coming in the picture behind Kyle Busch behind Hamlin. Then Preece and Larson. You've said it a couple times tonight. A quiet night for Larson. It will accomplish the goal. But Jeff, to your point, I think they're looking for more race-winning speed out of this 5. They won't need it in the first round, but to continue to advance, they'll have to figure it out before the playoffs finish up.
As we were saying before, a stabilizer, you know?
Yeah.
Just nothing too flashy, but nothing to get too worried about. Dave?
Well, they've been looking at a lot of photos that they get of the car on the track. Steve, you know what they're talking about. The close-ups that tell them more than they can see with the naked eye from the pit box. So they've been looking at damage on the front end, speculating that maybe that is keeping the car just a bit too tight and reducing the speed overall for Kyle.
I believe it. The one thing I would say, though, is I'm not sure how many clean cars are out there after 327 laps. The 19 of Briscoe for sure, but Reddick in second. We've seen him get run into and nearly wrecked. The whole field has a bit of their own highlight reel. Pace is up, though, as the sun has gone down. What's interesting, though, with 39 laps to go, if this does run green all the way to the finish, this will be one of the longest runs of the day for most of these cars. Even though we've had long runs, the green flag pit cycles are so quick that, you know, whose car disappears would tend to go, Jeff, right? Who hasn't got to this major balance issue?
A 16 car of Allmendinger, we've talked about it many times tonight. He has been here the entire night. He's run really well. He's had good pit stops. Done a nice job.
For a guy who once didn't like Darlington, he's sure showing like he likes it now, Kim.
Yeah, AJ Allmendinger running in the 5th position. The most recent changes definitely helped him. When I talked with him earlier today, kind of laying out the goals for these last 10 races, he said, we want to be consistently getting top 15s. Well, they will best that tonight if he finishes where he's running. That's in the 5th position. And he just talked about how overall Colin has brought fast cars this year. In fact, maybe some of the fastest Cup cars he's been a part of was very complimentary about the steps they've made. Bubba Wallace running behind him in that 6th position. Talked about earlier how crew chief Charles tonight said they just need to have a clean race because they know drivers will make mistakes in terms of playoff drivers. They didn't want to be one of them. Consistency and base hits were what they were looking for as co-owner Michael Jordan looks on as his driver runs in that 6th position. So I would say they checked the box for their goal here this afternoon.
That'd be huge. Huge for 23-11. To have 2 of their 3 cars in the top 6 with Reddick and Wallace. Let's have a listen to some radio from Ross Chastain. Here it is.
Got some bad news. We had a fueling issue, and we're 2 laps short on fuel.
2 laps short on fuel. Normally, fuel is never even a conversation here at Darlington. They said they had some sort of issue. Now, the good news is I believe 2 laps is possible to stretch it. I'll be honest, Dave, I don't really have a lot of experience trying to save fuel at a track like Darlington, so I'm not sure how efficient he can be.
Well, I was going to defer to your mate over there, Jeff, and just say that, you know, they went to him and they said, you got to do us a favor here. That's right. They can see what he's doing. Yep, save us some fuel here and there. Jeff, 2 laps to save at Darlington. Is that easy to do?
I think you can save 2 laps over 40, right? You have quite a bit of time to get that 2 laps done, but you have to have the discipline. If you have to give up a spot or 2, then you just have to do it. You cannot get caught into that trap of saying, okay, I got to make sure I'm going fast enough. With you, where you are in points, with other people having issues, I'd rather get up 2 or 3 spots and know I can make the end of this race on fuel. Even if you do that, you're going to come out way ahead. Recognize the situation that you're in and take advantage of it.
Christopher Bell in the 20 on pit road. Remember, had a decent car early in the race, got in that wreck with the 77 on pit road, had heavy damage to the right front splitter. They tried to make repairs, made it a little bit better, but never quite back to what it once was earlier in the race.
33 laps to go, and as Christopher Bell rejoins the racetrack, let's talk about the 45 of Tyler Reddick, the Pinnacle Toyota Camry. Let's take you back. If you've just joined us, this is what happened to him on the very first lap of this race. Gets hit by Josh Berry. He tags the wall a little bit, but Jeff, the save of saves.
Oh, I just can't believe when he had to turn the car to the right to keep from spinning out, that he was able to get it turned back to the left and not hit the outside wall. I would say the save of the year, because with everything on the line, the start of the playoffs, had he missed that by 4 or 5 inches, that's a completely different game. They're in the garage fixing this race car rather than battling for a win.
And the last shot of that replay package, Steve, was he and Chase Briscoe battling it out, and there was another close shave with the wall here at the track, too tough to tame. But getting up high and close to the fence, that doesn't rattle him, but still, he's had 2 experiences recently, Richmond and Daytona, where it just didn't go his way. Tonight it is going his way, and he's capitalizing on it.
It has so far, but I will tell you, 30 to go in the Southern 500. We talk a lot about the Coca-Cola 600 and what those extra 100 miles do, because by distance it's the longest race of the year. Well, I will tell you, by time, this one wins normally every single year. 23 of the first 26 races of the year are over by now when you look at the clock. So these last 30 laps feel long because they are. They have been grinding, and they have been driving exhaustingly inches from the wall with kind of danger and issues around every corner. So even as impressive as Briscoe's 280 laps led are, and they should be celebrated, because this drive kind of harkened back to Martin Truex Jr. at the 600, behind the wheel of this 19 car where he was so dominant. It is anything but sealed with 29 to go, and Reddick only a second back.
You made reference to Martin Truex Jr. there. Chase Briscoe told us earlier this week to walk around the NASCAR Cup Series garage area, or when he meets the fans, and he's got that Bass Pro Shops race suit on, the Bass Pro Shops hat on. He knows, because he's a student of the sport and he loves the history, and he was a fan of what Martin Truex Jr. did as well. Even though he raced against him, he said it means something because it's such an iconic scheme. Parker?
Right, as we saw Tyler Reddick start to cut that lead down from about 1.7 seconds to just under a second on Chase Briscoe. When this run started, his spotter, Drew Herring, came on the radio and reminded him this run could potentially be 8 laps longer than any run you've had past in this race. So let's not run off and hide. Let's just manage the tires. So as you see Reddick kind of play yo-yo around that second barrier, I'm not convinced that the 819 is just simply trying to manage his tires and what could potentially be the longest run of this race.
Yeah, the run before this was 41 laps, and at the end of that, Reddick was running Briscoe down at a high rate of pace. I think this 45 car is better on a long run. 27 laps to go. The last few laps, the 45 has without a doubt been faster.
We've seen this. Remember, Byron dominated the 600. Chastain took it late. We have seen cars being able to be improved or the right adjustment. And to your point, this 45 is coming. It's a half a second and closing. 2/10, 3/10 a lap. The 99 getting in front of the 19 has hurt the 19. That dirty air has backed the 19 up. The 45 has cut it down to 5 car lengths. And this is a track where as you try to push, one slip and he can be there.
Now, the disadvantage.
Look at that lap, Jeff.
Exactly, a 10th and a half. But he's forced. You see the 19 car?
It was
he's
loose
in the middle of the corner.
He knows the pressure's on.
We've seen that all night long. Loose in the middle, 1 and 2 is no good. You cannot carry pace. But what he is doing, he's taking Reddick's line. Reddick really wants to be on the boards right against the wall. So does the 19. You saw Reddick the last time in 1 and 2. He ran the bottom. He has to run somewhere that the 19 isn't.
Don't discount the car third in shot, Eric Jones. The Dollar Tree Toyota Camry, there it is. A 2-time Southern 500 winner. He feels he's got a chance to be victorious in 2025.
45 used the bottom lane successfully in 1 and 2. Does he try in 3 and 4? No. Right to the top. Both cars in line.
The 45 get in the wall a little bit there. If he didn't, it was close.
Well, if he did, I'm not sure it slowed him down any.
Oh, he ain't gonna stop.
The leader at 43, second at 41. Throw a blanket over. The 19, a protective line. I'm a little scared about that. If you miss that and you give the 45 the top, you will only do that once, and he will be on your rear bumper.
23 laps to go here in Darlington. Chase Briscoe, Tyler Reddick, Eric Jones, all 3 in that camera shot. 1 second blanketing the top 3.
We'll see if the 19 goes back to the top. He ran a lower line down here, and the 45, I thought, gained.
Yeah, I think the 45, I think Reddick's better, lower over here. There he goes. I think that's where the speed is. Look at the corner
Wow.
The center of the corner, he's better. Yes, the 19 is going to drive off on exit, but this is a game of inches. You're not going to pass him in 4 or 5 laps. You got to gain a quarter of a car length, lap after lap after lap.
Jeff, you say it's a game of inches. It's a game of tenths of a second as well, because Jones has brought that margin under a second. And let's not discount his teammate, John Hunter Nemechek, top of your screen. He's only 1.4 seconds off the race leader.
And all that tells me that Briscoe does not have the pace that he had earlier. This is the closest we've seen the top 4 cars. I think Briscoe is driving everybody toward him, kind of stacking them up.
And with 21 laps to go, the 19 will absolutely catch slower cars on the racetrack. And they're there. They are right on the rear bumper. Has the 45, who's gone winless all year, saved it for the playoffs. That would be an amazing first win.
But now that Jones is there, that changes the opportunity for Reddick. Reddick is going to have to play a little bit of defense. I wanted to try something different down here. I wanted to go to the bottom in 3 and 4 and just give Briscoe something to think about. I know it's not faster, but just make Briscoe look in the mirror and see you do something different.
Jones is flying.
He is.
That might be Briscoe's bigger concern, is if the 43 can get past the 45. Let's see. Can Jones find a way by here in 1 and 2?
He's only 0.8 of a second behind now. That started out at over a second. All over Tyler Reddick. Right up against the wall.
Through the wake. He kind of had that crossover of the wake. Still a long way. Now, we're not 9 laps to go. We're 19 laps to go.
Think about this. After living 26 races of that question, am I going to win? Can I lock myself into the playoffs? Well, there's the haves and the have-nots. The playoff drivers and the ones who are outside. The top 2 here are playoff drivers. The next 2 are not. The next 3 are not, including Armendinger. So for Reddick on screen, for Briscoe out front, for Wallace back in 6th, who's kind of out of this now at, what, 6.9 seconds back for the time being. But for the top 2, they want to win so desperately to guarantee themselves to go through to the round of 8. And that relieves a little bit of pressure. For the others, they don't care. They're going out there to win for themselves, their manufacturer, their team, their partners.
Oh, that was a great corner for Eric Jones. He made the same gain on entry, but it didn't lose grip through the middle, and he was able to exit close.
Yeah, but look what's happening. Briscoe's skipping away.
Tyler Reddick asked more of his race car. I got to go get a little more speed, and it wasn't there. It just simply wasn't there. It was for 3 or 4 laps, but now it's just gotten away from him.
Kim Kuhn, tell us more about Tyler Reddick.
Yeah, in the last couple of runs, that balance has gone away on the long run. He hasn't complained yet so far about it. Right now, the spotter just telling him, try and take away his exit, meaning what he can do to block Jones in the run he gets off the corner on Reddick.
77 with the bobble, lets you 11 by. I think this is going to come down to, can the 19 clearly manage the lap traffic up ahead? Do you catch him at the wrong time, Jeff, right? The middle of 1 and 2, or turning down the hill, or how do you do that? You look, there you go, right? That's kind of brought the 45. The 66 is going to concede, but now the 19 is right on the 88. Does the 88 run the top? He does. The 19 has to run the bottom. Will this allow the 45 to have run down the front stretch where he can make a move on both?
The 45's got to get by SVG right here. Can he get by him, get into 1? He has to make this work. There he goes. So he netted out better, gained a lot of ground.
We learned here a year ago that Chase Briscoe can handle immense pressure. When he was out in front, took that top spot with 26 to go and brought it home, including a late race caution and restarts. We learned further this year at Pocono that he can handle the pressure out in front when he led the final 34 laps to get the win and confirm his position in the 2025 NASCAR Cup Series playoffs. Can he hang in there for another 13 laps?
He has good, clean racetrack. The next car is the 21 car of Josh Berry. He is so slow because he's wrecked. I think he'll just get out of the way.
Yeah, the bigger question for me is, will Christopher Bell drive past these guys on newer tires? I don't think so. I think he's choosing to kind of not engage back there. Nothing to be gained in 30th. He'd like to get back to 1 lap down, but I don't think he can do it.
What a night for Toyota. They filled the top 4 positions in this race. Briscoe, Reddick, Jones, and Nemechek. First non-Toyota is A.J. Allmendinger in 5th.
I know we know the numbers, but Eric Jones at Darlington is just so impressive. I mean, it's just hard to believe that the 3 wins in over 300 starts, and 2 of them are here.
Yep, and he's had 5 top 5s, 5 top 10s. He has an average finish of just over 13, and he's led more than 130 laps here.
I tell you what, Reddick had a great 3 and 4 that last lap.
And this is the concern, 37 laps on the tires. I'm not sure there's anywhere more difficult here or Miami to try to run the last 10 laps on old tires and not drive it a foot too hard into the corner and get into the wall.
Let's delve into the psychology of the leader, Jeff. He's about to lead his 300th lap here tonight. You led 300 laps at Loudon, New Hampshire many years ago in 2000. What's that like? Do you feel like you're unbeatable?
Well, on top of that, he's trying to win back-to-back Southern 500s. That's an extremely rare event. So he understands how big of a race that is. He also understands what this means to the playoffs. So much more pressure and things to gain than I did when I led all those laps. So I think the key for Briscoe is just, you don't need to look in the mirror. Just pay attention to what's in front of you. Look at your lap timer. Keep hitting the lap time. Pick a pace, right? I need to run these for laps, and just go do it.
You see how close it is. Unable to mount a charge to the bumper. But you mentioned not look in the mirror because it would be full of the 45.
Eight laps to go. Oh, and a little wiggle from the 19. He got a little loose. The pressure is relentless from Tyler Reddick and Eric Jones. 0.8 of a second across the top 3.
And up ahead, you mentioned the 21, but also the 48 of Bowman.
Whoa, big center speed right here.
Here comes Reddick. With 7 laps to go, the crowd is on their feet. They know they're going to want a special finish.
Reddick lower with more grip and more speed through the middle of the corner. He will be there.
19's loose.
And traffic ahead. A traffic jam ahead. Oh, this is intense.
Jones, much faster than the leader. Can he be a factor?
Michael Jordan is such a fan of what Tyler Reddick can do and has done. He's so proud of him. But is he going to be able to do it? Or is Eric Jones going to upset both of them?
Oh, the 45 got it turned down the hill. This is the most momentum he has had. Will he take a dive to the bottom? Jeff, that's what you've been asking for. There it is. He finally does it. Left turn. Shows the 19 something different.
If Chase Briscoe can hang on and sustain this pressure, it will be something phenomenal. From this point, 5 more laps.
See, the 19 has caught the 48.
And now, Reddick's got his mirror full of Eric Jones, even more so than before. And a gap to the leader, an advantage to Briscoe.
Bowman completely out of their way.
And another one clicks by for James Small and the 19 crew. At Joe Gibbs Racing, they're saying, hang in there, come on, 4 more. And we're there, we're guaranteed to go through.
If Reddick can get to the rear bumper of Briscoe, Briscoe is loose. He does not have the rear lateral grip that he needs. This is the corner right here. 45, Reddick has got to make the corner exit work. He can roll the center really well, but the exit is where Briscoe is able to get by him.
It has been a crazy weekend for Tyler Reddick. He got out of the car yesterday where his foot went to sleep and he limped back to the pit box. He almost crashed on the opening lap today, sideways off turn 2. And here we are, hundreds of laps later, and he's got a chance to win the Southern 500. He is so close to Chase Briscoe. And Briscoe has been incredible tonight, leading 307 laps so far, and he's just got to stay there for 2 more.
This is where Reddick's been quick. Right here, able to turn, leave on the bottom. Not quite the momentum that time.
At the end of 500 miles, we couldn't ask for this to be any closer. Joe Gibbs Racing, 2311, Legacy Motor Club. Chase Briscoe, Tyler Reddick, Eric Jones. This is it. 1 lap to go, presented by Credit One Bank. Who do you think's going to do it? We'll have the answer real soon. Here comes Tyler Reddick. He's only just over a car length back. It's going to come down to turns 3 and 4. And Reddick throws everything he's got at Chase Briscoe.
Close enough.
Is he close enough? Briscoe's able to move by. This was the race that changed Chase Briscoe's life last year, and he's done it again. Briscoe wins the Southern 500.
Let's go, boys. Let's go. Butt whipping right there. Awesome job.
That's what we needed there. Good old school.
He said in the lead up to this race, we haven't achieved our potential yet. Well, boy, what was tonight? 309 laps led and a back-to-back Southern 500 winner. Coach Joe Gibbs talking to the crew, as he always does. Joe Gibbs Racing, the Bass Pro Shops number 19 team, James Small, the crew chief, Chase Briscoe, the driver. They booked their seat through to the round of 12 and celebrate back-to-back Southern 500 wins. How about that one, Stevie?
It was unbelievable. The car, the drive, and these race fans were on their feet because Tyler Reddick forced Briscoe to be as perfect as he could. Never did he waver, never did he miss. No wall contact. An unbelievable drive. 309 laps led by the 19 on to the next round in absolute dominant fashion. He told us this week.
Yep.
He thought this was the track he was the best at.
And congrats to that guy there, Tyler Reddick. What a fighter, what an effort. And the crazy weekend that he's had, came so close. There'll be that disappointment of not being victorious, but what a fight he put up.
second Southern 500s hasn't happened in almost 2 decades. Son Brooks promised Dad a trip to Victory Lane in the pre-race show, and Dad delivered in front of a packed house here at Darlington to start the playoffs. Brooks with the number 1 on the top of the car, and Dad Chase is into the second round of the Cup Series playoffs with his second Southern 500 win. Last year he put Stewart Haas in the playoffs in this race. Tonight, a lot more on the line. This one advanced this team to be the first one into the second round of the playoffs. I don't know what's more pressure, keeping Tyler Reddick behind you or delivering on the promise that Brooks made earlier tonight to get to Victory Lane.
Yeah, man, that there at the end, that was way harder than it needed to be. Man, what a just an incredible Bass Pro Shops Toyota. As a fan, I've watched Martin kind of dominate a lot of races, and it was fun to finally be behind the wheel of it. But man, it's so cool I see those fireworks. It's so cool to win 2 Southern 500s in a row. This is my favorite race of the year, and it's just such because you have race fans. Every time we come here, the place is sold out, and just the atmosphere here is unlike anywhere else. So yeah, just a great way to start our playoffs, and man, that was a lot of fun.
Lead over 300 laps. You told us earlier this week we haven't shown our potential yet. Does this show what this team is capable of doing?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this is what we definitely are capable of doing. You know, we haven't been able to go out and, you know, dominate a race like that, but the potential's been there from day one. So, yeah, just so thankful once again that Joe Gibbs, Toyota, Johnny Morris, JP Morris, just to be able to run this red, white, and blue Bass Pro Shops car and get into Victory Lane. I mean, it's the most American brand there is, and to have the Star Spangled Banner on the side of this thing and win is pretty dang cool.
Brooks, you told us you were going to Victory Lane. Where are you headed now?
I'm going to do a big burnout.
Oh, a big burnout coming up for Chase Briscoe and Brooks Briscoe. Chase Briscoe has advanced on in the Cup Series playoffs with a massive win in the Southern 500.
That was awesome. Well, we're going to talk a lot about that and a whole lot more on here from more drivers in the Progressive post-race show coming up, because that's race 1 done. And there's a nice gesture. MJ, Michael Jordan, and one of his drivers, Tyler Reddick. Michael appreciates that determination and drive.
He loves to win, but he knows the fight. And, you know, game respects game. That's what you always hear. Well, I think that crosses sports, and that's what you see here. But what about this? What a family moment for Chase Briscoe. I got news for you, Chase. The winner of the opening race of the playoffs has made it to the championship 4 or 5 of the last 8. Let's keep the streak going. I think this 19 car is good enough to go very deep into the playoffs.
And he has said that. Why not? Wife Marissa there as they celebrate. Terrific family moment. And when you lead 309 laps, you should win, but racing doesn't always deliver what it should, but it delivered an epic finish. Look at Reddick sideways off the final turn, trying to chase Briscoe down, but the 19 did it. 19 team did it. And there's a lot to celebrate. There's a lot to unpack. NASCAR America post-race show presented by Progressive coming up, and James Small and the team just ecstatic. They were pumped. That's James's brother and mum who are over from Australia there to celebrate. Awesome performance, and we'll talk more about it in the post-race show.